HEDGE to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. So text HEDGE to the number 989898. That's HEDGE to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation or purchase required.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that for Bree's car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. All over Bree's car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy for Breeze. La 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 la.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
Your new kitchen appliances look stunning.
Thanks. We had a blast shopping for them at National Appliance Warehouse. There's over 100 brands in their huge showroom. The best part was knowing everything was at the best price.
You must have done a ton of research.
Oh, we didn't need to. They use a cutting-edge technology called Price Assure. It searches prices online and updates electronic Price Assure tags in real time to make sure theirs is the lowest.
Lower than the big box stores.
Especially them, with much better service, too. And they do it all. Delivery, installation, everything.
National Appliance Warehouse in Wilmington.
Yes. They may not be the closest, but they'll make your wallet the happiest.
Enjoy huge savings on new kitchen appliances during the Columbus Day Mega Sale underway at National Appliance Warehouse. Save up to 34% on select GE appliances. National Appliance Warehouse has an unmatched collection of GE, Cafe, GE Profile, and Monogram appliances. Innovative and inspiring, you'll love GE appliances. Preview the savings at nationalappliancewarehouse.com or visit their easily accessible showroom on 202 in tax-free Wilmington.
Looking for a new Ford? Winter Ford has the vehicle for you. Choose from our large selection of new F-150s, Explorers, Escapes, and Bronco Sports today. Winter Ford also takes care of you after the sale. Stop in their service department with no appointment necessary. Call 800-428-4000 for offer details. Visit in person or online at winterford.com. Winter Ford, people you trust, service and value you'll love.
Hi, this is Joe Meterchick, PNC Bank Regional President. When it comes to playing the game, every team has their why. Maybe it's for their legacy, the rush of a win, a championship ring. We at PNC Private Bank want to understand your why, your purpose. Once we understand it, we'll map out a personalized path forward to help reach your goals. Tell us, what's your why? PNC Private Bank is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Tuesday, October 10th. It is indeed Kayal and Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app and, of course, streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube. As we head until 10 o'clock this morning, 855-839-1210, the phone number. Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal. Kayal. Dawn Stensland with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producers. Loaded show today. Dawn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Gregory,
well, last night sucked.
Yeah, I'm not too happy, honestly. How do you let them off the hook? How do you let that rat squad off the hook?
I mean, you're up 4-0 and then 4-1.
Blew it.
Zach Wheeler going lights out. But they left 11 runners on base. I mean, you can't do that.
Painful.
Look, we all said that if they just split the series in Atlanta, this was this was a win for them.
Yeah, but you know what? I was greedy last night, and I wanted both of them. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Well, we gave them momentum, and that's just not. We
Terrible.
can't do that. It's
15 to start that series.
Yeah.
15 straight scoreless innings.
Yep.
They shut him out on Saturday, and then the first 5 or 6 innings last night, they shut him out as well.
Yep.
And then something went terribly, terribly wrong. It's like Joe Biden going off the teleprompter.
Well, I don't envy Atlanta coming here because I don't think any team wants to play in front of this fan base.
That is correct.
Because it is. I can't imagine how intimidating it is for another team.
It's going to be absolutely electric tomorrow night. John Brazier of the Phillies, he'll join us at 9:30 this morning. We have all sorts of stuff to get to. RFK Jr. makes it official as an independent yesterday here in the city of Philadelphia. We have more fallout from Israel and Hamas, including a Philly Voice writer for the Philly Voice who gets fired for sharing his thoughts on that debacle.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even know the Philly Voice was actually a thing.
I didn't know it was still around, to be honest. But
Really?
it is.
No, I had no idea.
I don't read that kind of stuff.
Is it a free paper, Dawn?
I think it's like a digital.
I just get it online. It used to be a print, but I just see it. I do look at it. So
I remember they had. You would walk down on like the corner of the street, and they would have those little newspaper things you could open up.
Yeah.
That's what I remember the Philly Voice being in.
Okay. Very good. We're going to get to that. We are also going to get to the Philadelphia Inquirer because if Joe Biden can't save democracy, apparently Taylor Swift can. I knew it was too good to be true. I didn't hear that damn name once on Sunday. And what do I got to see on Monday? More Taylor Swift. Locally, in this city, and not about concerts or dating a Kelsey, but about democracy. So we'll get to that. Kevin McCarthy in the news as well. More bad news for the Bidens. We have all sorts of good stuff today, including if you thought our Ohio school bus driver was epic, and you might remember her. Wait till you hear about a Long Island bus driver, a school bus driver. One of the greatest stories you will ever hear, and actually scary if you're a parent, but also funny simultaneously. We'll get to that as we continue this morning. But let's get down to the pertinent matters at hand. And for that, we go to the news. Round 1 at 6:05. And here is Dawn Stensland.
And good morning Tuesday morning, October the 10th. A chilly start to the day. Again, feeling like fall, but we are in for a lovely forecast, I shall just say to you. So this morning, let's talk about what's going on. A Philadelphia family, we've talked a lot about in Philadelphia, all of the crime, all of the carjackings and car thefts. But I'm going to begin with a Philadelphia family who is making a desperate plea, searching for the ashes of a loved one that were actually taken away along with when their car was stolen. So this is Heather Darby Donovan, her teen daughters, Annalise and Michaela, and they moved to Philadelphia for a fresh start following the death of their father a few years ago. And so it's just such a sad story. They moved to Delaware County to be here with family, and they actually have their Jeep, their 2015 dark gray Jeep Compass Latitude, the family vehicle that was stolen near Belmont and Wyalusing Avenues. It was stolen from West Philadelphia. So it's Maryland, plate number 4FF8952. And so the ashes, not just of, her husband, the daughter's father, but also the two family dogs. They put all the ashes together in this urn, which were in the vehicle. And it was
the remnants
stolen.
of an entire family just snatched away.
So they're making a plea, and I saw that this morning. I thought, oh my goodness, So this is a plea from a family to the car thief. Please, just put the urn with the ashes someplace.
Yeah.
Why were they in the car? Why were the ashes in the car?
What are you, victim blaming? You're ash victim.
Yeah, I mean,
you can keep the 8-year-old Jeep. Just give me Dad and the dogs back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe
were they coming directly from the funeral home? Because that's really the only excuse they have for keeping them in the car.
Well, they're in the back, and it's for
Sometimes you just want to take Dad and dog out for some fresh air.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Cool, man.
This is like the episode of Married with Children when Marcy's aunt dies
Nobody
and she
knows that.
brings the urn over to the barbecue.
Yeah, nobody knows that one.
See, everything goes back to that show.
Yeah. 2 people get it.
Continue, Dawn.
So we have, I'll update you in a moment. I just wanted to start with some local news of what's happening day 4 with the Israel war that's happening. But I will say hundreds gathering on the campus of the Perlman Jewish Day School in Wynwood last night, all in support of the war-torn country, obviously, of Israel. Many praying for what's going on over there and praying for their safety and a quick resolution. So they said that the last 3 days have been hell, and many in attendance say they have close ties in Israel, as well as family members worried about loved ones overseas. And among the supporters and attendees, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who of course is Jewish. He and his wife are Jewish, so they were there last night. Shapiro speaking out and condemning what he's calling horrific acts of war. So let's take you to, in fact, what's going on as we look at day 4. At least 11 Americans, among those 900 now. The death toll obviously rising overnight as we learn more information as we enter into day 4. And as far as the militants there in Hamas, they are now saying that for every rocket that goes off unannounced into Gaza, they will kill one of the 100-plus hostages, mostly women and children. So this situation, we know there's been a negotiation going back and forth. We've learned a whole lot of new information this morning. But and of course, yesterday morning at some point, I had reported that, as you know, they had shut down, Israel had shut down all the power, water, electricity, food going in and out of that specific area known as Gaza, where all of the Palestinians that are living.
Yeah. Sadly, I don't think you should be negotiating with these insane individuals because, okay, you might give something and get something, but what's going to happen 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Hamas is never going to go away. These terror attacks against Israel are never going to go away. You can't negotiate with these people. You need to obliterate them.
Oh, I think Hamas is going to go away. I do. I think they're going to.
What? You mean like run?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I think they're all dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Netanyahu's going to just destroy everything in sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
you can't,
at this point, as he should.
You can destroy Hamas, but I mean, they're going to. The root of this comes back to their warped vision of their religion.
Correct.
The root is, Greg, the root is Iran. They're just being used and pimped by Iran, who didn't want the deal to be signed between Israel and the Saudis.
It's just like I said yesterday. It's like you kill Bin Laden, you don't end any of that. You kill Saddam Hussein, you don't end it. It's just the next wave, the next group, the next bunch of young kids being, programmed to think this way. So
you don't embolden Iran,
right?
To me, I think all the evidence is going to come out. But Iran, we keep learning more and more. I mean, they allegedly backed this whole situation, and reportedly their officials actually helped plot it.
So you're with Lindsey Graham that we should bomb Iran?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't want war.
No.
I don't want war, but I think it's important to understand that people with views like you're saying, Greg, who have extreme viewpoints, can be triggered and used by this, but they will pay the price, and the Palestinians will pay the price.
You know what we should do as Americans, as this country? We should stop doing business with everybody in the Middle East when it comes to oil. Saudi Arabia, any place over in that part of the world that has oil, cut it off completely and do what Trump has said: drill, baby, drill. They'll cooperate. They'll be better troops and soldiers then. Shut them off financially. Stop purchasing oil from them. How about that?
Yeah. Well, that's we embolden them, don't we?
We do.
We keep on. We're high quality customers.
We're a reason they're we're the reason they have an economy over there.
Yeah. My teen son, I picked him up for school yesterday. He goes, how much that we're spending on all these wars? What if wouldn't it be cheaper to just give everybody solar panels on their rooftops and drill our own oil and gas and everything? It'd probably be cheaper than all the money we're giving to all these other countries.
And then dump the rest of it into Kensington and clean that area up.
Jeez. And, we've talked a lot about the fact that Joe Biden hadn't been around much. They had the barbecue on Saturday. He was MIA. They said, they had a lid. And everybody's saying, why do they have a lid? Well, now we know why. because Justice Department Special Counsel Robert Hur, who's investigating, the classified documents found at President Joe Biden's former office in D.C. and at his home, more locally in Delaware, interviewing the president. That announcement from the White House yesterday, calling it a voluntary interview, but it explains, perhaps, why the president was MIA Sunday and Monday for those interviews.
And did I read it correctly yesterday that he shut it down yesterday at 11:51 a.m.? Most days he typically works noon to 4, but I guess with the continuation of these classified documents conversation, he was up a little bit early on Monday to address that. And then he's like, yeah, I'm not coming out to speak today. I'll get to you guys tomorrow on Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, so to me, I don't know when it was planned, and my initial reaction to your point was, so rather than talk about your failed policies and your buddy-buddy relationship with Iran that has created a catastrophe, chaos, and war in the Middle East, you'd rather talk to the special counsel.
That's correct.
For 2 days.
But it was just a kind of buddy-buddy conversation. It wasn't really intense. There wasn't a lot of grilling of Joe.
Well, and of course yesterday, I know we're going to talk about this, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in Philadelphia with an enthusiastic crowd and announcing that he's no longer running as a Democrat. So I know we'll talk about that. I'll just headline it for you. RFK Jr. in Philadelphia, running the steps like Rocky in Philadelphia. So we got that going on. RFK in Philadelphia. So much to talk about. And yes, our Philadelphia Phillies blew that big 4-1 lead. And so we lost to the Braves, and they're bragging about their historic double play, capping a big comeback. And so it was an improbable double play that was sparked by Michael Harris II, capped the Braves' dramatic series-tying comeback, Game 2 of the National League Division Series last night against our Phillies. Braves clinging to a 5-4 lead.
Here's how it ended from our sister station, 94 WIP.
Iglesias at the belt. Long hold. Now the 2-2 swing and a fly ball right center field. It's deep. Harris going back to the track near the wall. He will jump and he makes the catch. Harper's around second. Has to double back through the infield. He'll slide into first. He's out. It was Austin Riley who took the throw from Michael Harris, and he throws out Bryce Harper, who took a gamble and lost. And so have the Phillies. (5-4), the Braves win it here in Game 2.
That was a hell of a play by Michael Harris and a painful double up. I know Harper gambled a little bit, but 5-4, your last up, your last at bat, you got to go for it.
I don't blame him.
But it's the build up and the mistakes before that, and the collapse and the blowing of the lead leading up to that was painful.
That was it. That was a hell of a play, though.
It was
by the Braves.
That Harris kid is good. Yeah. He's really young too. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's one game.
Yeah. I will take both of them here, and then it's over.
It's just they had them, and you tweeted it perfectly. Of course, it didn't age well, but you tweeted it perfectly. Finish them.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I mean? Like, they had the chance to finish them.
Correct.
There was no chance that they were going to win the series if they were coming back here to Philadelphia.
And it's a repeat of last year where they had him down again, but, they could. And by the way, this is best of 5. We all know that. I've checked it. We've double-sourced it. It is a best of 5. It's not a best of 7.
Yeah.
So it can end here in Philadelphia in 2 games.
Yeah.
So tomorrow before sundown, Citizens Bank Park, South Philadelphia, Phil's return for Wednesday for our big, home return, as you're talking about, right? So let's talk about it. Today, we have 66 degrees. But for your Wednesday, as the Phils return, we've got Wednesday 70 degrees. So it's going to be beautiful weather-wise. Yeah. Wednesday 7 degrees, sunny. Thursday 72. And then Friday 69, all mostly sunny skies. Beautiful days. Beautiful for baseball. So the NBC 10 forecast looks like a lucky, perfect forecast for our Phillies return home. Just as Nick Kayal said, finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Finish it home. And I'm finished with the news. That's Kayal Company News Live.
I'm finished with the show, too. Let's go home. Let's just pull it 6:17. Let's get out of here like John Fetterman would. We'll call it an early day like Joe.
We can put a lid on the show at 6:17.
I see what you did there. All right, let's get to a Tuesday Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal Company.
All right, the big take this morning, don't get it wrong, RFK is no friend to the right. You know, breaking up can be hard to do. Parting ways with family can be even tougher. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. knows what that is like. Yesterday, right here in the city of Philadelphia, RFK Jr. left the party that his family defined for generations. In a historic announcement, Kennedy officially launched his presidential campaign as an independent against President Joe Biden after the DNC basically shunned him from a primary, not allowing RFK Jr. to attempt a primary, the 46th president of the United States. His campaign began in April, but he was clearly viewed as the establishment annoyance and was never offered Secret Service protection. RFK Jr. has gone as far as saying that Democratic officials are conspiring to rig the primaries against him, citing his familiar blend of half-truths and outright fabrications. So says NBC News. And while RFK Jr. is a cancel culture victim himself, believes in free speech, and has had strong stances against certain vaccines for certain diseases, make no mistake about it, he is no friend to the right. He is more of a classic liberal with some radical ideas. He's kind of like Bill Maher, or perhaps even like podcaster Joe Rogan. The truth is, he is going to work against the far-left progressives and all of the woke nonsense, which will steal votes from Joe Biden, whose party has been hijacked by squad Dems, but he's also probably going to have more of a negative impact on Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Here was RFK Jr. yesterday in Philadelphia. Watch and listen.
At hotels and malls on the street, and they remind me that this country is ready for a history-making change. They are ready to reclaim their freedom, their independence. And
I saw that and I thought, is that an assassin?
And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to declare myself an independent candidate.
Now more than ever, according to polling data, it appears that America is ready for a third party. One poll showing that 63% of Americans would support a third party. But who would be the face of it, and where does the money come from? RFK may have the name, but he doesn't have the voice, and that's not a shot at him. And he's already been smeared by the left, the media, and the establishment. In my opinion, a moderate Democrat or a moderate Republican with a huge bankroll, huge name value, charisma, and leadership in this day and age could be an unstoppable force, especially in the day and age of far left versus far right politicians, which have overtaken both sides of the political spectrum. But today's focus should be solely on Republicans and Trump supporters not taking a victory lap with RFK Jr. rising up and stepping out from the DNC, but a legit concern for the 45th president of the United States. According to Politico, recent polling shows that he is the most formidable independent since Ross Perot. In their column in Politico, they say Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is poised to be the most formidable independent presidential candidate in almost 30 years. And already, operatives in both parties are moving to head off the impact. A combination of his famous name and widespread voter dissatisfaction with both likely major party nominees puts him in position to earn the largest share of the vote for an independent candidate since Ross Perot drew nearly 19% in the 1992 election. Now, given the recency of Kennedy's flirtation with an independent bid, there isn't a lot of polling testing a three-way race with President Biden and former President Donald Trump. But in recent weeks, two polls have found Kennedy at 14% when included as a third option with Biden and Trump. And in a tight race in which every small advantage matters, both parties are anxious about how Kennedy could draw from their coalitions. Allies of President Biden have called his independent candidacy dangerous. And the Republican National Committee, conscious of how he has drawn on the anti-vaccine crowd amongst its base, is already highlighting Kennedy's liberal policy positions, eager to stamp out any support he might garner on the right. And Kennedy's support so far is coming roughly evenly from Biden and former President Donald Trump. But third-party candidacies can be unpredictable. And Kennedy's anti-vaccination stance gives him more room to draw from Republicans than Democrats. And Democrats aren't excited by Biden's campaign. We know that. And many say they wish he wasn't running again. We also know that. But Kennedy likely isn't the right candidate to pull them away. And in the course of the campaign, it's probably more likely that Kennedy's independent bid would ultimately hurt Trump. While Kennedy was in Philadelphia, Trump was in New Hampshire. Let's hear from Donald Trump on the dilemma facing America as World War III looks far more likely than it ever has. Listen and watch.
In very, very grave danger of having a World War III. And this will be a war. This will be a war of obliteration. This will not be a war with, I say, army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. This is the real deal. And we have a man that he can't even walk off a stage. He walks off a stage. He finishes his speech. He looks, oh, well, he can't find. He has no idea. You know, there's always a stair there, a stair here. You could even walk off the front, jump or something, do something. He usually walks to the back into a wall. Yeah, there's a wall there. He walks right into a wall. Can't walk off the stage, can't put two sentences together, and yet he's negotiating with President Xi of China, who, when I say he's very smart, the press, look at, that's a lot of press back there. That's a lot. So, for him to negotiate with President Xi of China is like my high school football team playing the, let's see, what's a good team nowadays? Philadelphia's good. So, you know, they change a little bit. I used to say New England. I used to say the Patriots. I'd love to be able to say the Patriots. He's a great guy, great coach, but they have a little hard time. But what's going on with the Patriots, huh? But he's a great coach. And he'll figure it out somehow. He's going to figure it out. But that was not a good game last night, was it, huh? But it's like playing a professional team. It's ridiculous for him to be negotiating with these people. These people, I got to know them all. They're at the top of their game. They're at the top of their game. And we have somebody that 30 years ago wasn't at the top of any game.
You know, Trump is right about World War III. He is right about Biden. He's also right about the Eagles and the Patriots, but I digress. The Trump team, well aware of RFK Jr.'s impact. In a column on Friday from Mediaite, former President Donald Trump's 2024 campaign is reportedly planning a series of attacks against soon-to-be independent, now officially independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as Team Trump becomes, quote, anxious that Kennedy could take more votes away from Trump than President Joe Biden. Semaphore spoke to several Trump allies on Friday who reported they are anxious about Kennedy now that he will supposedly be dropping the DNC logo in favor of an independent presidential run. We saw that become valid and official and formal yesterday here in Philadelphia. The Trump team saying, quote, we're going to be dropping napalm after napalm on his head, reminding the public of his very liberal views. Dating back to 2012, one unnamed source told the news outlet, quote, we have a lot of stuff on him. Another source saying it's, quote, single digits, but it's enough where it counts to make a difference. While a Trump-aligned operative said, quote, he used to be a fun plaything to hurt Biden. Now he is something that could hurt the GOP. And also in another article on Mediaite, yet despite the simplicity of the argument that a Democrat running as an independent will hurt Biden in 2024, Kennedy is no ordinary Democrat. His views on issues like COVID and Ukraine, expressed at length in countless appearances on Fox News and right-wing podcasts, align neatly with the beliefs of the current Republican Party. That fact has led Trump supporters and the media to fret that he could pose a greater threat to the former president than the current president. As a Kennedy campaign insider put it to Mediaite, quote, MAGA folks are upset over this news, end quote. The reality is this, it's a numbers game. Dems outnumber Republicans. Mainstream media outnumbers conservative news media. Social media and big tech collude against the GOP. And now RFK Jr. is officially a fly in the ointment, so to speak. He definitely takes votes from Biden. And while he won't win anything, he could ultimately cost Trump the victory. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210, the phone number, on social media at 1210WPHT. And, of course, on YouTube, just go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community. We'll come back, get thoughts and reactions to RFK Jr., also Kevin McCarthy in the news, and we continue with day number 4 of the coverage of Israel and Hamas. It's Kayal and Company, live here on a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Israel says it has legitimately targeted Gaza's parliament and civilian ministries as fighting enters day 4. President Biden participated in a voluntary interview over the last 2 days as a part of his classified documents investigation, and the Phillies lost 5-4 to the Braves in Game 2, but they can still clinch the series at home.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live in Atlantic City.
Like when we went to the zoo as kids, that's all you got, was the zoo. You ate in the car before we go in. What? They got food inside. You think I'm gonna pay? And when you got hungry, you left. Dad, I'm hungry. Okay, let's go.
Sebastian Maniscalco, Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa for 10 shows from November 9th through 18th. Get tickets now at theborgata.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me for years talk about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements after making their omega-3s as part of my daily routine. From supporting heart health to promoting pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Jeff. He says the benefits of Rescue Omegas are worth it. Helps reduce my inflammation and lower my cholesterol. Been taking it for years. See, people like Jeff have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Use the code online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Remember the code OMEGA50, OMEGA50. Buy one, get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville with Paul Wyants and Brendan Donegan, Saturday, November 18th. For tickets, go to JoeConklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotics assessment in Walmart today. Now in the foot care aisle.
Hey, Warminster, we know your favorite station is WPHT.
Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
.633, Kayal and Company, live here Tuesday morning. Good to have you in on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. So, day number 4 of what is going on in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas. And I kind of wanted to look at it from a little bit of a different perspective this morning. You know, we talked about our initial reaction yesterday. And, you know, the left, I believe, has really shown their true colors here. What do I mean by that? So, both from a politician standpoint and a media standpoint. But let's just look at it from the politician standpoint first. And then we will get to one of the local angles to this as a 76ers beat writer for the Philadelphia Voice who felt compelled to tweet about Israel and Palestine, apparently said the wrong thing, and he was immediately zipped like that, canceled, and fired. And I'll tell you why I think it is the right decision coming up in just a moment. But 11 Americans have now been killed. 900 have been murdered. And if this was Donald Trump or any Republican in office, and this starts occurring, let's say Saturday morning, the news breaks, very early East Coast time here in the United States, and Donald Trump waits until Tuesday at 1 p.m. to address this, what do you think the networks are talking about? How can this guy go over 80 hours before making his first public appearance and giving a statement? Joe Biden will address the media today at 1 o'clock because, as we know, Joe typically does the bulk of his work between noon and 4, even when there's wars going on across the globe. And then yesterday, Obama finally breaks his silence. We told you on the show that the Clintons had been mum, Obama had been quiet. It took Barack Obama 72 hours to tweet about this yesterday and condemn the horrific acts and, thoughts and prayers and all the same cliched BS talking points. But by the way, Obama responded much quicker when Russia attacked Ukraine. Oh, he had a tweet up within 24 hours. But, 72 hours for Israel, I don't know. Michelle's probably on a yacht in a boat in another country in Greece or something having a good time. So you have Joe goes 80 hours. Obama goes 72 hours. And it's almost like, I don't know, the left for some reason, and we know the way they operate, the way they work. And we saw some of the posters and signs and protests. I mean, I don't understand the support. It's one thing if you want to support a nation, right, or a collective group of people. This is not meant to say that all Palestinians are terrorists, because they're not. But how do you sit here and make, the case for Hamas if you are an American and a left-winger or a Democrat? I don't get it. How can you sit here and try to, almost argue your own beliefs of, well, I'm not really against the terrorists? What?
Well, they would argue that they're not making excuses for Hamas. They're making excuses for the Palestinian people.
Yes.
Okay. It just seems I see a lot of these signs, and I'm like, we stand with. I'm like, it's a hotbed for grooming terrorism. I mean,
yes.
They for hundreds of years now they have, and I'll use the word, they have tried to exterminate an entire population. It's sick. These are warped individuals, and again, not all of them, obviously. The radicalized terrorists. But it's like, I don't know. The left is always outraged about, equal rights and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ plus rights. And it's like, what? Jewish people don't have a right to defend their land from invasion? I don't know. I just look at it as like very hypocritical from the left. They're the first ones to play the offended and under attack. Everything's under attack to the left, right? Democracy, gay rights, minority rights, you name it. But boy, when it comes to Jewish people, it's like, well, yeah, it's Palestine. I kind of see their point. I don't. So, wanted to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, they seem to want to look at it from both sides more often than not. You know what I mean? The problem I have is that aside from the Jewish people in Israel, the entire Middle East is a hotbed for terrorism.
Yeah,
it just is. I mean, it's just you annihilate Hamas and then ISIS or something else pops up somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not, it's just this problem is something much larger than just Hamas or ISIS or, Saddam Hussein's Iraq, all of that stuff. This is the problem that these people have been fighting for centuries.
Yes.
And it's
they still battle like it's biblical times.
Exactly.
Which is just like there's been no evolution.
Yep.
And this administration will come out and say, well, for the last 20 years, it's the most peaceful it's been over there, the most stabilized it's been in 2 decades. And then a couple of days later, kaboom, here comes Hamas. And then there's this article out there, and we talked about this yesterday. We mentioned how this really feels like an intelligence failure from Israel as well as the United States. Like, how could something this massive, this big, just go completely under the radar? It had been plotted and planned since August, so they spent 6 to 8 weeks, and nobody picked up on anything. Chatter, communication, however they were plotting and planning this. Yesterday, Tucker Carlson drops a new episode on X, and it was all about Israel and Hamas. About 6 minutes into it, he welcomes on his guest, who was Vivek Ramaswamy, because as we know, Vivek loves his camera and his mic time. And he said,
"Well, he's a presidential candidate."
I know, but he's a media WHORE. He's everywhere. He'll never turn down an interview. We could ask him to come on right now. He'd hop right on. Let me get a cup of coffee, Nick. I'll call me back. Tell Stocker to call me back in 5 minutes. He comes on and he says, what people need to start questioning is, and this is what we said yesterday, and we're 24 hours ahead of it on Vivek, how this intelligence failure happened. And then there's this article on how Israel was duped as Hamas planned the devastating assault. And a source provided many of the details for the account of the attack and its buildup that had been pieced together by Reuters. 3 sources within Israel's security establishment who, like others, asked not to be identified, also contributed to this account, saying, quote, Hamas gave Israel the impression that it was not ready for a fight, said the source close to Hamas, describing plans for the most startling assault since Yom Kippur 50 years ago when Egypt and Syria surprised Israel and made it fight for its survival. Quote, Hamas used an unprecedented intelligence tactic to mislead Israel over the last few months by giving a public impression that it was not willing to go into a fight or confrontation with Israel while preparing for this massive operation. So they basically, like Muhammad Ali, rope-a-dope Joe Frazier in the first fight, they totally fooled Israel saying, yeah, we're not, like, think about that. That's like sitting there, you're in a schoolyard with somebody that's the bully, and the bully says, yeah, I'm not really ready. Why don't we wait till recess the next day? And then surprise sucker punch comes, and you're caught off guard. This seems like Hamas was very calculated, yet they gave a very entry-level excuse or the impression that this would not happen, and Israel and any of its allies bought it hook, line, and sinker. That's what I gather from all of this. Which makes me want to go okay, you want to say tinfoil hat, whatever. Like, was this allowed for some reason? Was this like a stand down by design to further escalate and get into a global conflict? Because you can't be this foolish, right? We hear about Israel's weapons and their intelligence. They're not a third world country. It's a third world part of the world for sure, with all the death and destruction and the fact that they don't acknowledge females and gay rights, and it's a crime to be a homosexual, and they'll decapitate you. But that's the excuse that Israel was given, and they bought it. I don't know. It seems like a very low level excuse to give somebody, and you can dupe somebody, and then you commit the biggest atrocity since 1973, or going back even further to the Holocaust. Damned if I know. I don't know.
My impression of these groups, and again, I'm just going to say we haven't talked about these groups in a while, because under the previous administration, we didn't have to.
Yeah.
So let's just give perspective here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Trump shut it. He listened to his generals. He shut it down, and we didn't hear from these terrorist groups because they knew they were going to get the Moab if they did anything stupid like this. So Hamas, to me, is the lesser. I think part of the reason that they were underestimated, they're the dumb and dumber of terrorist groups and of militants. I really think that.
You comparing them to Hezbollah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because think about it. I mean, and both are funded by Iran.
Yep.
But the fear everybody had, and I think we reported this, I believe, while we were still before 10 o'clock yesterday morning. You know, everybody was saying, hopefully Hezbollah doesn't get engaged. And then we saw that they were shooting rockets from Lebanon, and they're engaged. And that's what Iran wanted. But Hezbollah certainly, they're the ones that Israel was worried about.
Right.
Because they are more organized. They're a brighter bunch, let's say. They've got it together. And as well, you look at their armaments, they've got the serious rockets and the serious artillery.
Right. And then if you think about this, and this is kind of I don't want to go too deep into the weeds, but you look at that entire section of the world. And of course, there are peaceful Muslims. There are a small group of Christians that are from the Middle East. And then there's the radicalized terrorists. So you've got Hamas. You've got Hezbollah. You've had Al-Qaeda. You've had ISIS. Obviously, you start going into Afghanistan and Pakistan, and you get the Taliban. And there's this collective uniformity of the common belief that Israel needs to be eliminated, that the United States and the West is evil, that Islam is the religion of choice that they want to basically push on the entire world, and they don't want to hear from Christians or any other religious denomination. And you think about all the nations, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, and you have these factions throughout that entire region. And then, of course, you see here on Sunday, you see Palestinian people in New York, in Philadelphia. Now, those could just merely be people of Palestinian descent that are supporting their nation. But if you don't think for a second that some of those radicalized portions of those people are in this country illegally plotting something, and there's not a sleeper cell that has the goal, let's just say the goal, because I don't have intelligence, I don't know what's being planned, but the goal and the vision for death and destruction to the West, then you're sadly mistaken. Then you haven't learned a darn thing in 23 years since the summer before 9/11, when the buildup was happening in July, in August, before 9/11. Like, these things don't come together overnight. You know, they just don't jump on the WhatsApp messenger like a Biden and say, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? You want to blow up a bunch of crap? No, they plan and plot this stuff. And that's why we have counterintelligence and FBI and all these people in the federal agencies, both abroad and domestically.
The heart of the matter in this whole thing is that there's a large portion of the Middle East that doesn't think Israelis have the right to exist.
Correct.
And I just don't know how they are, to me, the strongest people I've ever seen, because I don't know how you exist in a land where literally everybody wants you dead.
Right.
Everybody wants you dead. Doesn't think you should be there. It's just, it is, and it's been like this forever.
Yeah.
So how do you combat that? Because there's, like I said, you can cut the head off a snake being Hamas, but then another one's gonna pop up, and then this group's gonna pop up, and then that group's gonna pop up.
Yeah, which goes back to my point earlier about, when you look at the left, all the left does in this country is talk about racism. And I've been adamant, and I stand by this statement for a year and 2 weeks on this show now. I think the demand for racism in this country far exceeds the supply. So I don't understand how the left can basically always bring up racism in this country, yet find a way to compartmentalize and not talk. Because, Greg, you just mentioned it. I would argue that there is more hatred globally for Jewish people with what we're talking about with forever than far outweighs anything in this country with racism towards any minority group. Far and away.
Yep.
And I can't prove it. I can't quantify it. It's just my belief, and I stand by it. And it's just sad. And then, once again, actually, before we get to this local story, let's get to Vivek, because, again, I'm still flummoxed by the intelligence failure, both with Israel and with the United States. Vivek was on the newest edition of Tucker on X yesterday. And Tucker did about a 5 or 6 minute monologue on it, and then had Vivek on to talk about that. And he talked about what we mentioned yesterday, the intel failure.
What the hell went wrong with U.S. and Israeli intelligence and the Israeli defense that allowed this to happen? Everybody seems to be punting that as a question for later. I think it's a question for now if you're Israel. I mean, look, I think that Nikki Haley, I disagree with you a little bit there. I don't think she's a child. I think that she is somebody who is, like many politicians, in a position to get wealthier from war. Look at the military contracting business and otherwise. But put that to one side. The message that I would send would be very different. Get to the bottom of what allowed this gaping hole of intelligence and defense to even happen before feeding that same beast. If a doctor told you his job was to keep you from getting cancer and then you got that cancer, don't go trust that same doctor to remove your tumor.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point that I was hinting at earlier about 5 or 10 minutes ago. This level of intelligence of this kind of failure tells me that this was, I don't want to say a stand down by any stretch, but like he just mentioned with Nikki Haley or any of these Republicans that are pro-war, the old school Republican that love to be in conflict, that love to be overseas, war is profitable and money is the root of all evil. That to me is something that I think should be being discussed this morning and all week long, because it's 2023. Israel is backed financially by this country in many regards. They have very sophisticated technology, military equipment. And keep in mind, when you look at that map, they're surrounded by a bunch of people that don't like them, right? It's like being a Cowboy fan at the 50-yard line at Lincoln Financial Field. You got a bunch of Eagle fans that don't like you. So how do you allow that to happen? Beyond me.
No, I think to the point of religion and why religion plays a part of this, not that I'm going to get too deep into this, but I'm just saying that the America, by and large is a Judeo-Christian country.
Correct.
And so whether you believe the Old Testament, whether you're Jew, because in the Christian eyes, right, it's the Old Testament, the New Testament. Mm-hmm. But Christians, by and large, believe that the Jews were enslaved and were expelled. If you think of Exodus, they were expelled out of their homeland, and that they deserved. It's biblical, and it goes all the way to Revelations, the final chapter in our Christian Bible, right?
Yep.
That says the Jews will return to Israel, their promised land by God. And so part of this, to Greg's whole point about religion, if you're somebody who looks at this and go, man, religion really messed us up as a world, yeah, it's true. Because as Americans, as a Christian, I absolutely believe that that's their homeland, that God promised them that homeland. And so I think Christians and Americans, whether you're Jewish or Christian, believe they belong there. That's their homeland.
Yeah.
And after the horrors of Hitler,
right,
everybody said, you know what? The right thing to do is do what God said. Return them to their homeland where they were kicked out of their promised land, and they lived in slavery, right? And they need to be returned to that area.
Yeah.
So if you want to look at the complete whole view of this, I think as Americans, that's why everybody's saying, like, we stand with Israel because God says so.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't believe in God, then you go, man, that's really messed up, because God thinks all the Jews after Hitler should have come to America, come to Miami and be safe here in America,
right,
and forget this whole thing, right? Because that would have been like logical and safe.
Right.
but that's not what we do.
Yeah, and I'm not.
So this is an ancient battle.
Yeah, and I'm not saying anything that our audience probably doesn't already know already, because we have a very intelligent audience. But this is not your typical war over a territorial dispute, although that's certainly a part of it. This is not necessarily just about oil. I mean, this is, like, to your extent with the bringing in the Bible and religion, this is a holy war. Like, this is Islam versus Judaism. This is going back hundreds and thousands. I mean, this is biblical stuff. And, like, so when people that don't pay attention to this see this and make uneducated comments, you know, okay, I understand maybe not everybody's a scholar on it, and I certainly am not. But, like, this is very deep. This is next. Like, this is not your typical, you know, this isn't like Russia, Ukraine. There's a different, a higher fever pitch to it, a different tenacity to it, because it's rooted in much more deeper stuff than just, you know, territorial disputes or NATO or anything that is Russia-Ukraine related. This is Russia-Ukraine 10 times over on steroids, and it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah, and I will say, as far as the Palestinian conflict, as far as Palestinians, if you think about, I was looking up how much land it is. 2 million Palestinians live on 140 square miles. So it's the most densely. We talk about New Jersey being
it's like New York City.
Yeah, but think about New Jersey. We talk about New Jersey as the most densely populated state.
Yeah.
Think about this: 2 million people. It's the most densely populated territory on Earth. I haven't had the blessing of traveling to the Holy Land, but everybody says that for the Palestinian people, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whatever it is, everybody's scrunched into this tiny piece of property, essentially. And so the feeling is that they're the lessers, that they are demeaned and demoralized. And so there's that. It's very territorial. And so, yeah, it's the whole situation is not a good setup.
Yep, I agree. 855-839-1210, the phone number. We'll come back, kick off hour number 2 with some news from Dawn. And then this conflict hits home locally as a 76ers beat writer for the Philly Voice decides to voice his opinion and show his support to one side, and it cost him his job. Apparently, he didn't get the edict of stick to sports. It's Kayal and Company, hour number 2, coming up next here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, this is Norman Chaikin, also known as Norman the Floorman. I was running a dating service for chickens, but I was struggling to make ends meet. Calling all developers, investors, house flippers, and savvy shoppers. I'm selling plush carpet at 99 cents per square foot. I haven't sold carpet that cheap since 1969. Visit us online at normancarpet.net or visit our Bryn Mawr or Conshohocken showroom. Call for a free home estimate, and oh yes, 48-hour installation available. That's 800-220 Rugs.
40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. With NJ Diet, it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work to personalize supplements that will target your hormonal imbalances so you can shed that fat. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Locations in King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, and Newark, Delaware, or from anywhere with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or visit njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This Philly sports season, the only action that matters is what happens on the field and what's on your plate. So when the game is over, let Gerhardt's tackle the cleanup so you can focus on celebrating the victory. Take home a Bosch stainless steel dishwasher for only $3.99. It's the quietest brand on the market, so you can set it post-game and forget it until the next pregame. only at Gerhardt's Appliance, setting Philly sports fans up with the game day cleanup assist since 1945.
If the market volatility of the past year has made you nervous about your retirement future, you're not alone.
So many people are waiting for the perfect time to retire. And those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
But that doesn't mean that it's hopeless. Jim Cipriotti has been helping people get to, through, and beyond retirement for over 20 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, now on Saturday mornings at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We know you're excited because Eagles football is back. With the free Odyssey app, you can jump back and listen to the moments that matter, even if you missed it live. Hear Marks and Reese break down the offense, or listen to Nick Sirianni's interview with the 94 WIP Morning Show.
Yeah, I've been in a game where we scored a touchdown, and I'm fist pumping with the fans. I don't think I've done that since I played college football.
Stay close to the Eagles wherever you are this season. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
I'm Mark Luca, president of Aqua Pennsylvania, here to help you avoid costly clogs. Remember to toss all wipes in the trash, not in the toilet. This includes those marked flushable, as well as tissues, napkins, or paper towels. Flushing anything other than toilet paper can cause backups in your household plumbing and larger blockages in our system. Save the pipes, don't flush the wipes. Aqua, an essential utilities company providing clean, safe, reliable water when you need it. Learn more at aquawater.com. That's aquawater.com.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Don't miss a special edition of the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, sponsored by Advocacy United, this Saturday at noon. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, this Saturday at noon on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I am counting down the days to an amazing, it's a trip of a lifetime, and I hope you join me. Join me for 12 magical days in luxury with the professionals. Nobody does it better than Conservative Tours. Yeah, if I'm putting my good name on this, not just to talk about it with you, but with my husband, with my sons, we're all going. This is our big trip of a lifetime. We've always promised our sons that we would take them someplace amazing. And this is amazing. Southern Italy, gastronomical tour, the most beautiful coastline in the world, the Amalfi Coast. And with a little help from my friends at Conservative Tours, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, they are the top, the best tour operator in all of Italy, because you know what? Nobody does it better. They will take us to all the best kept secrets. And we're even going to take the high-speed jet foil to the Isle of Capri. I've seen videos of this. You know, it feels like you're kind of flying over, skimming those Mediterranean turquoise blue waters. Okay, here it is, $52.67. That includes your airfare. It includes luxury hotels, fabulous dining events. We're going to be talking about this years from now, and you will be too. But you know what? You're going to be regretting it years from now if you don't call right now. Toll free, 888-733-9494. You can go to conservativetours.com. You see my picture there and the full itinerary. Just to give you some highlights, Italy's best kept secrets. We're talking the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Puglia, medieval Caserta, Sorrento, Pompeii, of course, all the ancient sites, and that'll be the Colosseum in Rome. Oh, I can't wait. You got to join me next spring in Italy. I'll see you on the Isle of Capri. How does that sound? Call now, 888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Don't let them silence you. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal Company, 7:01, hour number 2 here on a Tuesday. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. A lot of local stuff coming up here in the next 45 minutes. From the Philadelphia Voice to the Philadelphia Inquirer, and also Penn State and Riley Gaines. I just saw the front page of the New York Post. Just chilling. It says pure evil. On the left, you see the explosion of one of the bombs going off. Hamas threatens to kill 150 plus hostages, including a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old little girl, if Israel continues to strike back for terror attack. And on the right-hand side of the paper, they show these two beautiful girls, 5 and 3 years old, respectively. But I noticed something, and I told Greg this during the break. For the last, a couple of months or so, the New York Post, in the top left corner, which they always do, has the United States flag. And then in the top right corner, they have the Ukraine flag. Well, the Ukraine flag is no longer there. And it now says the typical black box of page 6, which is a section of their newspaper. And I'm wondering, because we know that polling numbers have shown support has waned for the United States to continue helping Ukraine. It's gone down and down and down. I think it's at like 41%. I actually thought it would be a little higher than that, and I was wrong last week when I said I was guessing it's probably about 54 or 55%. I think that's intentional. That was done by design. I think it's a bad look if they kept the Ukraine flag up with this Israel stuff going on.
Well, before you say that, I have the digital copy here.
Oh, am I wrong?
Well, you're not wrong. There's not one on today's front page, but they don't do it every day.
Oh.
So, October 8th doesn't have it. It says Late City Final on the right-hand side.
Oh, it's a different edition.
October 7th does.
Okay.
October 6th doesn't. It says Page Swift instead of Page 6.
Page Swift.
October 5th doesn't. It says
That's
Page...
just for you, baby.
Yeah, no, just for me to get my blood going.
Page Swift as well. So there are... It looks like that it's not... It looks like that, when it's a late edition... that they don't put it up there.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that very much.
Yeah, just a clarification. Now, we can see tomorrow if they don't have it up
I'd like
tomorrow.
to actually track that.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that.
I will.
Because I got to believe that they're somewhat cognizant of the thought that some Americans are starting to sour on the Ukraine funding, which, by the way, I guess now Biden is trying to get ready for a $100 billion package, basically saying, this is all you're ever going to get. We're going to give it in one big lump sum. And Zelensky is starting to panic, thinking funding might dry up, which I got to imagine eventually it does, and it will. All right, 7:03. Let's get some news here in hour number 2, and then we will get to this story with a fired Philadelphia Voice writer for voicing his opinion outside of what he's paid to cover. Surprise, surprise. But let's get the news, and here is the great Dawn Stensland.
And good morning. It's Tuesday morning, October 10th. Here we are. We are sponsored by Rhino Shield this morning. And as we update you, if you're just waking up, day 4, Israel at war with Hamas after these unprecedented, historic attacks. And so I just want to update you quickly as we talk about where we are. Israel pounding Gaza with these deadly airstrikes and displacing some 100,000 people, sending waves of, this is the headline this morning, sending waves of injured Palestinians to hospitals, which are becoming overwhelmed. As far as Israel's UN ambassador says, the country's priority is to, quote, obliterate Hamas terrorist capabilities after the militant group threatened to kill civilian hostages and then broadcast their executions. And Nick Kayal just previewed for you some of these are young children, toddlers, kindergartners. And so they're threatening to kill civilian hostages and broadcast their executions if airstrikes target Gaza without warning. The number of hostages held in Gaza right now, and Gaza is that small area, that small stretch of land we've talked about that is in essence ruled by Hamas. So the number of hostages this morning estimated between 100 and 150. And we're being told that Hamas has claimed it is holding more than 100 captives, including Israeli army soldiers. The update this morning, at least 900 people have died in Israel, and they're saying 680 Palestinians have been killed since the conflict erupted Saturday. And that's the way that CNN worded it. I'm looking at the way the media broadcasted.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying, they're writing this passively, have been killed since the conflict erupted. And I'll just point to those verbs and the choices, because it didn't erupt like a volcano erupts.
Right.
This was a planned attack.
Correct.
From one group to the other. So I always love to look at the different writing, which is unfortunate to me.
Yeah.
Because it's so biased.
It is. You mentioned the televised or the broadcasted executions. And as soon as you said that, I immediately went to DuckDuckGo and looked up, because I remember this almost 20 years ago. Do you remember the Wall Street Journal reporter of Jewish descent, Daniel Pearl?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And he was beheaded on some live stream or whatever. I think this was 03, 04-ish. I think he was captured in 02. So, I mean, this is what they do. And terror, sadly, it's about inducing fear. And they do that for shock value to send a message. And, you know, I'd hate to be anybody in one of these negotiating rooms, right? Because you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. It's like you got to do what you can to get the person out and free him, but you also don't want to show weakness.
Yeah, I know.
It's a tough spot.
Yeah, what do you do?
What do you do, right?
I mean, Lindsey Graham will play that at 7:45. It basically says that we should go over there and just start bombing Iran's oil fields. I don't think that's the answer.
That's
either.
not a diplomatic answer.
No.
Well, he's a diplomatic idiot.
Reminds me of the movie Iron Eagle when they're dropping the bombs over on the oil refineries.
So the two other headlines I'll just share with you quickly. As far as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he's vowing to the terrorist group Hamas as savages, and saying that what we do to our enemies in the coming days will reverberate with them for generations. And this as airstrikes pound Gaza ahead of the ground invasion, despite the threats to execute those hostages by Hamas. So Hamas came back then, and the Hamas commander, and came back and said, well, Israel is only the, quote, first target. And there was a newly resurfaced video that they're now playing everywhere, but we're hearing from Hamas, these veiled threats, if you will, that's only the first target. So then the question becomes, where else?
Yeah, who and when, right?
So I heard, who was it, Ari Fleischer yesterday. I was talking on one of the shows as I was scanning through everything, and he had said these individuals, what they did to teenagers and kids and college-age students yesterday is what they want to do to us.
Yeah.
If they are in this country, if they have snuck in here due to our leaking borders, this is what they would want.
And Ari was with the Bush administration, correct?
Yeah. Yes, because their God tells us that we are infidels.
Right. What they say.
I get chill bumps when I talk about all of this, because it's not like we want to predict it, but I think for all of us, it is a perspective to think about the reality of this, and it's day 4, and this is going to
I got to tell you, I've never yearned
suck us into something that we just never imagined.
I've never yearned for a trans TikTok video story as much as I have right now. Talk about putting things into perspective from a show standpoint.
I know, right?
I'd rather see a purple-haired lady with a nose ring talking about her pronouns.
Thank you.
I told you.
So true.
I've said for the last couple of weeks that what this world needs to get out of the pronoun circle that we're in is war.
Well, you got it.
Unfortunately, I was kind of being facetious when I said that. I didn't actually want it to happen.
No.
So yeah.
All right.
So we talk about the media all the time. If you look at the digital version of the Philadelphia Inquirer, I don't see much about the headlines I just gave you about hostages, the threat to kill, a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, to execute and torture that child, and then broadcast it as a Jewish hostage. Okay, I don't see those kinds of headlines on our Philadelphia Inquirer. The only reference that I'm seeing at the top, at least, is reference.
Dawn, it's the front page of the Inquirer.
Is it right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Israelis consumed by fate of hostages.
Oh, good. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Because I just had it up when I had it up this morning, and it wasn't up there. So thank you for that.
Don't worry. We'll get to the op-ed later on how Taylor Swift can save democracy in the Inquirer. Hard-hitting journalism.
No, I'll tell you, thank God for that.
Yeah.
Because earlier this morning, when I looked at it at first this morning, I didn't see that picture that you just held up. So thank you on the digital version.
Yep.
But I was going to go to the fact that they are saying locally we had this huge rally, about 1,000 people, and so many rallying, hundreds gathering on the campus of the Perlman Jewish Day School. This is Wynwood, and showing support and prayers for Israel. And what I was going to say was that, to me, is a wonderful story about people in our community gathering in a peaceful, prayerful way and praying for peace. And among them, of course, our governor, Josh Shapiro, who, yes, is Jewish, and he's a Democrat governor, obviously, but Shapiro condemning this, calling it these horrific acts of war, but a really beautiful gathering there. And they're estimating at least 1,000 people in prayer and coming together in solidarity. I'll mention to you that we do have a new program at Philadelphia International Airport, and this gives guests who are either, if you're accompanying or meeting travelers at the airport, and this is something that has not been available in more than 20 years. So I think of, let's say you're, coming in, you've got, let's say your kids are coming in for the weekend, or your mother-in-law is coming in for the weekend, or your family, your sister, your long-lost sister. The Wingmate Pass. It's called the Wingmate Pass. It's a free amenity that gives the non-ticketed guests access to the secure side of the airport. And with this pass that you apply for, that people accompanying travelers will get to meet them at their gate.
So you don't have to keep like driving around in a big loop in a big circle?
Exactly.
Like a madman?
But I love that. It's called the Wingmate Pass. And back in the day, this was something everybody could do. So they're now at Philadelphia International Airport, and it's through TSA.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to apply for it, and they'll only give 50 people per day. So the pass applications are reviewed by TSA.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though.
It is. And I'm fortunate from the standpoint of Nashville being such a small airport that they do direct flights to Lehigh Valley International Airport. So anytime I go from Philly to Nashville or vice versa, I can avoid things. But now that makes me actually, a little bit more open to doing Philadelphia International Airport if I'm in the mood to get frustrated, or less frustrated now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pass holders must be an adult with a driver's license and can only bring one personal item.
Oh, so you have to have ID.
You have to have ID.
Okay.
Which we're still trying to get voter ID in Pennsylvania.
That's correct.
The Republicans are working on that in the legislature.
I don't know. This sounds a little racist to me. I don't know if I can get on board with this. You got to show who you are.
I will just mention to you, and Nick did a great big take about the big rally and visitor in Philadelphia yesterday, ran the Rocky Steps shirtless. He's looking good.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. Declaring the fact as a Kennedy, he's not running as a Democrat, but running as an independent. And I don't know the timing, Nick Kayal, and I know you mentioned this, but I thought it was interesting that as RFK Jr. was getting a lot of headlines and held this big rally in Philadelphia, and all of a sudden yesterday, the White House announces, hey, we don't have details, but Joe Biden's going to hold a rally in Philadelphia this Friday.
Well, it'll be, I think, his 13th time here since 2020. You say what you want, but they keep coming back to Philadelphia, don't they?
Well, we are on the road to the White House. You know, they need us, I guess. So,
by the way, RFK Jr., let me see what his age is real quick. I had to throw this out to the ladies in our audience. So he just turned 69 years old. You mentioned he's in great shape, right? Runs the Rocky Stairs. You saw him do bench presses and push-ups.
He looks fantastic.
What if you're a 69-year-old single female, or maybe widowed or divorced or whatever it would be, would you find RFK Jr. attractive and still date him despite his voice, or is the voice the turn off?
Oh, that's very superficial of you, Nick.
I'm just wondering, just thinking out loud here.
I mean, Cheryl Hines is beautiful,
carved like a Greek god. I know he's married, but he's carved out like a Greek god. But you listen to him and you want to just maybe throw the remote control at him.
I think he's hot.
Look at that. Yeah,
see, there you go.
I think he looks great.
All right.
He does. Yeah.
And I think, to his point, I think it was genius to he's in Pennsylvania, and so he's thinking, hey, I've got this. Because, Pennsylvania, Joe Biden, who doesn't know, which way to go.
He doesn't.
Then you have John Fetterman, who wears the hoodie and,
right.
Enough said.
Yeah.
And then low energy, sleepy Bob Casey.
Right.
So he's thinking, I'll just run up and down the stairs shirtless.
Yeah.
Right? I've got this. Who cares about the voice?
So, ladies out there, would you rather run the steps in Philly with RFK or go skinny dipping with Joe?
Ew.
We gave you that story yesterday.
Just ruined the imagery.
Joe's been known to skinny dip.
Well, guys, we have another naked Biden.
I know, which is a tease for a story coming up later.
Yep.
The Bidens, they just can't keep their clothes on.
Another naked Biden.
I know.
Hopefully it's Hunter.
Bear Biden bears all.
Oh,
No,
Chase.
it's not Hunter. It's
Yes.
another naked Biden.
That's right. What a family. Family values.
Yeah.
Well, we do have our Phils kind of blew that beautiful 4-1 lead. Maybe you, I don't know, took a nap, went to bed early, whatever, and you thought we had this. Nope, we didn't have it. So our Phils come home. We're 1-1 in this series. We won the first one big time yesterday, blew the lead. Braves had that historic double play, blah, blah, blah. So 5-4, the Braves beat us, and it's not Bryce's fault. But we're coming home.
That's right.
And it's going to be a beautiful thing. And then we get to win at home.
5:07 tomorrow night.
Why do they come?
Pitch.
I
hate that.
Do you know why they do it?
Because of the
I
TV.
know John Brazier's going to be here.
Because of TV.
No, it's because of Greg Stocker, because he hates the odd numbers.
Right.
And so they go, John Brazier just says, let's just trigger Greg Stocker.
That's right.
Not 5 o'clock straight.
Right, not 5:05.
Not 5. Well, but Greg likes, 6 a.m. We started. So Greg likes a 5 o'clock fresh.
We
start at 6 a.m.
I love a 5 o'clock game.
Aaron Nola pitching, by the way.
Woo! Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So we got that going for us, which is nice. We are also sponsored by Rhino Shield. Still time to protect and beautify your home with Rhino Shield before wintertime. Call our friend John Gilgy now. Take advantage of the best sale of the entire year. Call now. You never paint your home again. And this is especially great on surfaces like stucco, for example. So seal it up. Do it with Rhino Shield, 844-RHINO-99, the only Rhino we like. That's 844-RHINO-99. Thank you, Rhino Shield, for sponsoring us and for sponsoring our beautiful forecast, NBC 10 First Alert forecast. We're in the 70s and sunny, especially starting tomorrow. Today's a little cooler, but starting tomorrow for your Wednesday through the end of the week, it's about 70-ish, 72-ish. Crisp, gorgeous weather, sunny skies for our Phils to bring it home and win it against the Braves. Kayal & Company News Live.
Thank you very much, Dawn. And if Rhino Shield was smart, they would hire Kevin McCarthy to be their pitchman moving forward.
Right.
I hear he's got some time on his hands.
I
these
like
days.
this.
Just saying.
But maybe he's got a second chance.
That's true. He might be coming back if they're deadlocked. All right, still ahead this morning. We have the cut sheet. We have another Biden who can't keep his clothes on. Also, Jonathan Turley with more details on the Biden influence peddling dynasty. There are more family members and more money. We're going to get to that, and a trio of local stories from the Philly voice with the Sixers. That's coming up next on Israel-Ukraine. Taylor Swift in the Inquirer, Saving Democracy. And also, apparently, Riley Gaines says that she was canceled at Penn State. So we're going to get to all of that this morning. It's a busy show, and we're back after this on Kayal & Company.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in the Philadelphia region. QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, not so fast. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint, which repairs and restores that damaged tissue. Imagine living life, especially this fall, with no more pain in your knees, your aching shoulder, your back, your hips. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Just call the local medical professionals, get a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
When you volunteer with your local AARP, it's easy to make a difference in your community. Volunteering with AARP could be as simple as taking a walk with a hiking group or being a supportive voice for family caregivers. You can volunteer on your schedule, whether just down the block or virtually from your computer, all while making new friends. With AARP, you don't have to go far to have a wide-reaching impact. Get started today at aarp.org/volunteer here.
Is the IRS after you? Do you owe them so much money you will never be able to pay them? Are they levying your bank accounts, garnishing your paycheck? Are you making monthly payments you cannot afford? If so, you need to call the Tax Problem Solver at 609-970-4634. I'm Charles Montesino, and I solve IRS problems. Do you have unpaid income or payroll taxes? Do you have unfiled returns? The IRS is starting to audit the employee retention credits. It doesn't matter. I can help. All I do is help people with IRS problems. I'm a certified public accountant and certified tax resolution specialist. That makes me one of the few people in the entire country that can help you. Again, my name is Charles Montesino, and I solve IRS problems. Call me at 609-970-4634 or go to taxproblemsolve.com. That's 609-970-4634. Call now and get started on the road to relief. Again, the number is 609-970-4634.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Designers, excavators, engineers, architects, listen up.
What are you doing? We're working here.
If you want to save time, effort, and money on your next underground utility project, start using Pennsylvania One Call System's Coordinate PA application. Coordinate PA is the next generation of utility coordination that allows you to easily transfer and manage your complex projects from start to finish, all the way from the designer to the excavator. Be prepared for your next underground utility project with Coordinate PA.
Makes sense.
Visit pa1call.org to learn more.
Hey, Paoli, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
You need cooling, baby. I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to schooling.
It's Kayal Company, 723 Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Cut sheet coming up in just about 20 minutes. John Brazier in studio from the Phillies at 9:30. And all sorts of good local stories to get to as we continue, including this one. Now, when I was doing sports from 2009 to 2015 in Philadelphia, I think it was around 2011, 2012, 2013, when the Philly Voice started to really focus in on sports. And, they plucked a few guys from the old sports station that I used to work at, and they hired them to be writers and cover, various teams like the Eagles or the Sixers. And to be honest, I don't think I've seen, heard, or read the Philadelphia Voice online or in print in 8 or 9 years, to be completely honest. So I was a little surprised that they still exist. Yesterday, though, apparently the guy didn't get the memo who covers the 76ers about sticking to sports, because the Philadelphia Voice fired their 76ers beat writer for criticizing the 76ers as an organization and their support of Israel. So the story goes, Jackson Frank, don't know who Jackson Frank is, the Philadelphia 76ers beat writer for the Philadelphia Voice, has been fired after criticizing the team that he covers and their statement in support of Israel. Quote, "We stand with the people of Israel and join them in mourning the hundreds of innocent lives lost to terrorism at the hands of Hamas." Hashtag Stand with Israel, the 76ers posted on Twitter, now known as X, on Saturday. And I went and found it. It's like a little digital graphic with their statement inside the little box with the 76er logo and the blue and the red colors and things like that. So Jackson Frank, who covers the team and is paid to cover them for their basketball operation, not where they align politically or not any of their stances or their statements in regards to anything that happens politically or socially, domestically or globally. So Frank shared the post with his own commentary, and he said, "This post sucks. Solidarity with Palestine always." He has since deleted his Twitter account, and he got fired.
I got to say something, because I agree with what he said. He's just wrong. But we're gonna play a clip coming up from Amari Stoudemire.
Yep.
When it's political speech that we agree with, we like it, but when it's not, we don't. So let's just try and be consistent here.
Here's my stance on this. I believe two things can be true at once. You can be against cancel culture, and you can support free speech, and still be fine with this firing over his stance on, and again, now he says Palestine. So maybe he's got some Palestinian blood. I don't know. It's not like he said solidarity with Hamas. But right now it feels like it's very odd that there is some level of support. And I mentioned this again with not only Democrats, but left-wing politicians and left-wing media, where this Palestine or Hamas support is coming out. So they go on to say, Mr. Frank is no longer employed by PhillyVoice.com as of today, said the CEO, Hal Donnelly, who told the New York Post in a statement. We stand with everyone who is absolutely outraged by the senseless attacks in Israel, by the loss of innocent lives and violence against civilians. And even if he's saying solidarity with Palestine, not Hamas, the timing of it is terrible.
It is.
We just saw almost 1,000 people slaughtered.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse.
Right.
Agreed. The timing of this is terrible. People, again, I tell both of you, everybody, Dom, Rich, all of you, stop with Twitter. Stop with Twitter. Stop with Twitter. It can only lead to bad things. Nothing good comes from Twitter. Nothing good comes from Twitter. Sorry.
There's definitely a difference in what you post versus what you say in front of a microphone or camera.
That being said, and besides me disagreeing with what he said 100%, I still think that he should not have been fired for it. So I think that look, they're a private company. They can do whatever the hell they want to.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, they have their own practice and standards. But, like, you know, if we're going to sit here and wave the banner, and I'm wearing the sweatshirt right now, free speech lives here. If we're going to wave the banner of free speech, we have to stand by it, whether we agree with it or not.
Well, see, here's where I do think, and you know I love free speech. It's on the Kayal Company apparel. It's the station branding. I love all of it. But I don't think it's 100% absolute free of repercussions.
Of course.
Like, you know, we adhere to the FCC.
Of course.
Just because free speech lives here doesn't mean I can drop F-bombs on the radio.
I agree with you 100%. Yes, there is a difference between free speech and consequence speech.
Correct.
Yes.
You know, you can't sit there. You're not protected under the First Amendment by saying I want to kill somebody. You go to jail if you say that. You can't incite violence or you spew hate speech. Like, so there are limitations on it, at least in my view. I don't think everything should go with no repercussions. But I'm wondering if he would have said, you know, let's just say this was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago when Russia-Ukraine started, and he's on the Sixers beat, and he says, I don't support Ukraine being backed by the United States. Not pro-Russia, but I don't think the United States should get involved with Ukraine. He probably also loses his job.
Absolutely.
Which there I would disagree with the firing and say I think he probably should have stayed in his lane, which is covering basketball, and that's the main crux of this. But it's different in this situation when we just saw a terrorist group that tries to align with Palestine that just killed 900 Jewish people. Like, dude, and this guy, and apparently he just joined the Sixers beat last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lasted 30 days before he just literally blew off his own leg in his career.
This is amusing to me, too, because I think the Philly Voice is kind of a liberal rag. So, like,
it is.
I'm guessing that, you know, when woke eats itself, it's always funny to me.
It really is.
But that being said, I support, no matter how wrong he is, I support this person's right to say what he wants to say about it.
Be interesting to see if he gets a job again anytime soon.
By the way, Frank is a product of Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington.
Yep, Pacific Northwest.
Ah.
Okay. There you go. 855-839-1210 if you want to jump in. 2 local stories on the way. The Inquirer and Taylor Swift, Riley Gaines, and Penn State as we continue live, working our way towards what's on the cut sheet. But right now, well, what's going on at the Piazza Auto Group? Actually, a lot. You can still take advantage of what many people are doing with 0.9% APR financing. I've been in my 2023 Honda Ridgeline since a few days before Memorial Day, and I've absolutely loved it. Service, the maintenance, phenomenal. Was over there last week speaking to a few of the reps, and you know, they treat you like family because, I mean, it's a massive operation, but it's got a family feel. 17 different brands with 35 locations. It's why it's my go-to for all things automotive. My sister beginning the process at looking at one of their premium vehicles. Dawn, her son, her family. It's, you know, the beauty of this is it's not just the truck. Like, I know some of you make fun of me. Oh, it's not really a truck. It doesn't have a Hemi, and it's perfect for me. I don't work in construction or landscaping. I just need it for my golf clubs, my girls' luggage, some groceries or whatever. Occasionally throw the lawnmower in there if I'm going up to the in-laws or whatever to cut grass. It's perfect. But if you're not in the market for a truck, I got it. Not everybody's a truck person. How about the Honda Civic, the Accord, the CR-V, the Pilot, and many more? All 0.9% APR special finance rates. Check them out online. Just do it right now. You're not doing anything during the commercial break, right? Certified or new. Pre-owned, you got it. They have everything. Accessibility and all the great brands. Nissan, Honda, Mercedes-Benz, Alfa Romeo, on down the list, all in one convenient destination. The destination, piazzaautogroup.com.
The fall is the best time to be at the Jersey Shore. Leaves are changing, crowds are gone, the weather is still warm, and Rich Zioli is heading back to the Grand Hotel in Cape May. Be there Friday, October 13th, 3 till 7.
It's Friday the 13th. What could possibly go wrong? Don't miss it. It's my happy place, and I'll be happier if you're there. So join the Zioli Show live at the Grand, Friday, October 13th. See you there.
Whether you're on your way to Cape May or already there, come by for all the fun. The Grand Hotel is at 1045 Beach Ave. This Friday, 3 till 7 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the Odyssey app.
They pretty much weren't doing anything. I couldn't ride a bicycle. You don't have your life because you don't have your mobility.
So when Patrick heard about QC Kinetics and their non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain, no waiting, he called them immediately.
There's no downtime. There's no rehab. That was the tipping point for me. I didn't have to take any drugs. I didn't have to rehab.
Before considering surgery, check out QC Kinetics all-natural treatment options that restore and repair damaged joint tissue in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back.
If you have knee replacement surgery, and then the knee is not yours, and there's no guarantee that that's going to be successful.
QC Kinetics. Patients around the country are raving about the results. They're getting back their mobility, taking back their lives with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me for years talk about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements after making their omega-3s as part of my daily routine. From supporting heart health to promoting pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Jeff. He says the benefits of Rescue Omegas are worth it. Helps reduce my inflammation and lower my cholesterol. Been taking it for years. See, people like Jeff have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one, get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Use the code online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Remember the code OMEGA50, OMEGA50. Buy one, get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Miller Center in Reading on Wednesday, October 18th, and at Springfield High School in Delaware County, Saturday, November 11th.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I loved it.
All his voices are fabulous, and the fact that he sings.
I couldn't imagine how good it would be with the orchestra. Awesome show.
I've never laughed so much my cheeks hurt. I'm like, yeah.
That's Conklin and City Rhythm at the Miller Center in Reading and at Springfield High School in Delco. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com!
For over 4 decades, Kitchen Magic has been transforming ordinary kitchens into extraordinary spaces. Our dedicated team is at the core of our success, combining expertise and creativity to drive innovation and excellence. We understand that your kitchen is more than just a space. It's where memories are made and cherished for a lifetime. We'll craft a kitchen that truly becomes the heart of your home. Discover the possibilities at kitchenmagic.com today. Now offering no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months on your kitchen remodel.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Look at you. Your life under control. Errands done. Be proud of yourself. It's time to give yourself a reward. You know you've been waiting all day for your favorite tasty cake treat, but which one? So many great choices. Is it the delicious crimpet or the mouth-watering candy cake? Maybe a tasty baked pie. No matter what you choose or where you are, it's always time for a tasty cake. So choose what feels right and enjoy. You've earned it, and you know you deserve it. Tasty cake. Accept no substitutes.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Canella with today's report. We all send our children to school to get educated, so when they finally graduate, they're more prepared to handle what life can deal them. We encourage you to get financially educated about the safe alternatives outside of Wall Street for your future retirement.
This week's expert report highlights the importance of receiving such a financial education. A recent retirement literacy survey found an educational disconnect between investors who have an advisor and those that do not. The survey asked 3 questions about safe alternatives outside of Wall Street's risky business. Less than 1% of the respondents answered all 3 questions correctly. More than 75% answered all 3 questions incorrectly. The surveyors also found over 50% of participants were less comfortable assuming risk in their portfolio during retirement years, but only 19% were interested in guaranteed income throughout their retirement. Researchers concluded that the majority of those surveyed were not properly educated by their advisor or their firms, and wrongfully believed that the relationship between guaranteed income and reduced risk were mutually exclusive. It's never too late to receive your financial education. And by meeting with a licensed retirement phase expert, investors can access an exclusive proprietary financial study guide and learn how to protect your retirement savings with safe alternatives outside of Wall Street's risky business.
To hear more reports that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
It is Kayal and Company, 7:38, live here on a Tuesday morning. Nick Kayal, Dawn Stensland, Greg Stocker, Daniel Valdez, Anthony DiRenzo. It's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. What's on the cut sheet coming up in just about 6 minutes? Another loaded edition. Tell you what, the amount of audio we're probably going to have this week is going to be off the charts. We might need 3 or 4 parts of the cut sheet. We should just do the cut sheet from 7:45 till 10 o'clock.
No, we can't.
Commercial free, 2 hours, 15 minutes. Actually, I take that back. Don't get any ideas.
Yeah, no.
I need breaks. I need spots. Spots are good.
The sales department's driving in today because, it's Tuesday. And they're having...
they're in person, that's right.
Yeah, and they're having heart attacks thinking commercial free from 7:45 to 10 o'clock.
I love it.
We can't go commercial free because we absolutely love our sponsors.
That is correct.
And we need to give them some love.
Yes.
Everybody does.
And I have to get coffee and use the bathroom and things like that.
Too, yeah.
Exactly.
But don't flush the man wipes, okay?
Well, we established that 11 months ago on this show about not flushing the man wipes.
Yeah.
We did a whole show on it.
It's an issue.
It is an issue.
In my house.
Really?
Yeah. Some people flush the man wipes.
Oh.
Well, what are you supposed to do with them? You're not supposed to.
I have a little covered trash can that with a liner in it.
Right.
That's a separate little trash can, and
Yeah.
just put them in there.
By the way, I always creeped out when I go to somebody's house and use the bathroom, and the little bathroom trash can doesn't have a liner in it. Bad etiquette, bad hygiene. I don't know what. It's just very odd.
That's on them.
Yeah.
I know you're not supposed to flush those things because Aqua PA tells us that.
That's right.
But I also don't know what else you're supposed to do with it.
Put it in the little trash can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then take the little liner out, and then you throw that in the big trash can, and then you go do garbage day, and then you take all the trash out.
That's right.
One
in
by
the plastic
one.
bags.
That's right. 855. Go ahead.
It won't. Otherwise, they say flushable. They're gonna clog the toilet.
Yeah. They clog the pipes. Yeah.
So.
Oh man. Very serious show, and then we go wipes.
That's right.
Wipes.
It's Israel, violence, Philadelphia,
That's
and
correct.
man wipes.
I gotta
News
tell
you can use.
I got to tell you, before we get into the more serious matters of the day, streaming live right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. But the YouTube chat is going nuts because did you tease that you're bringing up a topic of Taylor Swift?
I did.
Because everybody is like freaking out.
Yes, it's coming right here.
That you're going to get to Taylor Swift.
It's coming right here. I'm stringing you guys along. That's the science of radio. I know there's a method to my madness.
Jimmy writes, Greg should get clued in on to who his audience is. It's not 13-year-old girls.
Ah, right. Interesting.
The reason Nick is talking about it is because he's a good dad, and his little girls, who are adorable little twin girls.
AMC on Friday, Dawn.
Yes.
It's coming up 3 days.
He's taking them to the Eras Tour.
$94 down the drain.
By the way,
94 is the minimum, and then are they going to sell like T-shirts or any, because like you're in for that.
Yeah, if anybody tries to pitch me on buying anything else when I'm in there, they better run because I'm going to have like a meat cleaver with me.
How much did it cost you?
$94 for 4 tickets.
That's just the ticket.
That's
Wait,
not even soda,
4?
popcorn. Yeah.
Who else is going besides you and your
Kristen.
girls?
Kristen.
Oh, okay.
We're going as a family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice,
That's
dude.
sweet.
That is
Yeah,
sweet.
absolutely.
Look at you.
Yeah.
It's very nice, very mature.
I'm like most protests. I'm mostly peaceful.
Well, wait, is your marriage like Kevin McCarthy? I mean, maybe there's a second chance here.
As they once said, don't call it a comeback. Well, Fox News will be breaking in live from the alert desk as this story develops.
Well, Kristen, maybe take you back. You're like Kevin McCarthy.
She's my Matt Gaetz.
You've been booted from the house.
Yeah, but $94.
Yeah.
That's not even soda and
be
popcorn.
cheap.
All right, should I pay off the Swift story before somebody tries to take
All
me
right.
out through the YouTube chat? Should
Yes,
I pay?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just get it out of the way.
Let's get it out of the way. I just the Inquirer, because I said yesterday to start the show, I didn't see any of the 1 o'clock NFL games. I only watched the Eagles at 4, and I didn't see any Taylor Swift coverage. And apparently she was not in an NFL stadium, so we had a Swift-free Sunday, so to speak. And of course, I was happy about that yesterday. Well, of course, the Philadelphia Inquirer has to write a story written by Will Bunch. I'm not sure who Will Bunch is, but the headline.
But he's like a big deal.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Okay. This article is just.
Or he thinks he's
god-awful.
a legend in his living room, Nick.
Okay. Well, as probably most Inquirer writers are. So he says, can Taylor Swift save U.S. democracy if Joe Biden can't? Here's an idea for 2024. I just want to read the 2 or 3 paragraphs. It's, everything the Inquirer writes is like, a 900 word, which I can't read all on the radio, but I'll kind of summarize it. He says, you've probably heard it a gazillion times already. Democracy is on the ballot in the 2024 U.S. election with a showdown between President Joe Biden, aging defender of the American experiment, and Donald Trump, who has essentially promised a dictatorship that will punish his political enemies. Punish his political enemies?
That's right.
Has Donald Trump indicted Joe Biden 4 times, or has Biden's DOJ done it to Trump?
Trump said, I'm going to spank everybody.
Punish his political enemies, dismantle the federal government, which is, I think, what a lot of people want to do, like the FBI, and create a war posture at the border. Right. And as Joe Biden is just funneling and giving money to war after war around the globe. So I've already dismantled his first paragraph. He says it's a dire situation, yet I'm starting to think it's overly optimistic. Is American democracy even going to make it until 2024, he writes, or even through this week? Democracy could die by Friday. As I go to see Taylor Swift with my ex-wife, democracy could die on the same day. It's very possible. He says, what a mess. Who can save us? I'm thinking Taylor Swift. Okay, hear me out, he says. No, I'm not suggesting that the Democrats dump Biden and replace him on the ticket with America's reigning queen of pop, even though technically she'd be eligible to serve as America's 47th president after she turns 35 on December 13th, 2024. I don't think Swift is ready for the Oval Office, he writes. Heck, she might sick the U.S. Department of Justice on a few of her ex-boyfriends. But this Berks County native has already shown that she understands the stakes next fall and has the power to do something about it. Here's where I think he's right, but I'll have to alter his headline. He goes on to say, on Tuesday, National Voter Registration Day, the now Nashville-based singer posted a plea to her 272 million Instagram followers to sign up for the ballot, triggering a sizable response. And we talked about this in the last 2 weeks, that Taylor Swift, with all of her followers, with 272 million on Instagram alone, she was able to sign up 35,000 new voters. So can Taylor Swift save U.S. democracy? No, because democracy, I don't believe, is really under attack. But everything in the world of the left is under attack. Taylor Swift can save, however, the Democratic Party. And that is why we have brought her. It's not so much about her dating Travis Kelce. Yeah, we talk about pop culture from time to time and entertainment news on here. And yeah, Travis Kelce endorses Bud Light and Pfizer. But the tie-in for this audience is, and this is where I'm being serious and I'm not ripping this guy, Will Bunch, Taylor Swift is absolutely a thorn. Like I said in the big take today, RFK Jr. is not a friend to the right. He's going to steal some Biden voters away, but I do think he's going to take more Trump voters away. Taylor Swift, we know she's not a friend to the right. But don't downplay her impact on American society to absolutely have an impact in this election. This is going to be, you look at all the polls. 5, Trump has a lead. 5 it's tied, 2 are advantage Biden. This is going to be, I think, even a closer election than 2020 was. And if you don't think that Taylor Swift can have an impact on it, or any of these mega egomaniac entertainers, from Taylor Swift to Beyonce to, I don't know who else is popular in pop music today, Ed Sheeran,
Carrie Underwood,
these individuals, if they throw out their name on something Democratic on the left, because I highly doubt any of them would do it for the right, that is absolutely impactful and could very well sway, because it could come down to 1 or 2 states, swing states, bellwether counties. What did we talk about last year? Northampton and Lehigh County up in Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley, bellwether county. I mean, this stuff truly does matter. So, yeah, we roll our eyes and say, oh, Taylor Swift, she's a teeny bopper, appeals to 13-year-olds. She appeals to 18 to 28-year-olds as well. And those people vote. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. And I also just wanted to rip the Inquirer, because I'm so tired of the can you save democracy? Oh, my goodness gracious. So there you go, Philadelphia Inquirer. But at least they covered the Israel-Hamas stuff on the front page today. I figured it would be something else.
Well, it's on so if you get the paper version of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and if you go to e-edition and you flip it as if it's the actual printed paper, that's true. But if you DuckDuckGo Inquirer and you get the version, if you subscribe to the updated version, it's not.
Hey, also on that front with the newspapers, do they do a late edition like the New York Post? I would have thought that was a thing of the past by now with the decline of the print edition. I'm kind of surprised that the New York Post does a late edition. That feels so 1990s, doesn't it?
But the Inquirer doesn't print it physically on paper, but they constantly update it.
Okay.
Much like the TV stations do.
Right. Gotcha.
Or the networks do.
Okay. There you go. All right. 7:48 Tuesday morning. It's a loaded edition of What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out at Route 70 in Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. I'm going to jump right into this because I want to, I got a lot of pushback for things I said yesterday about the Muslim religion.
Oh.
I just want to just play this. We talked about TikTok. This is a man in New York City, Times Square, talking about the Muslim religion, that it is the correct religion, and we shall not stop until it enters every home.
Sounds like a mandate.
Cut 16.
We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
There you go.
Well,
that's what you're up against.
Yeah, a couple of things. I don't wish any ill will or anything towards anybody of Muslim beliefs, but that sounds very emphatic. That sounds almost like a threat. That almost sounds like a mandate, like we're going to force something on you. And the beauty of this country and various nations around the world is you have your choice of what religion you would like to believe and buy into and adhere to. That sounds awfully. I'll use the word
scary,
angry, yeah,
scary,
yes.
But that's what the book teaches them to do. That's I just feel like this. There are many religions in this country.
Yep,
and there's only one that doesn't preach peace. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's a fair assumption.
Well, Muhammad Ali preached peace, and he is probably one of the world's most famous Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm just
Cassius Clay.
He kind of did that to. Didn't he do that to Dodge the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, he stuck with it.
Yeah. No. To his credit, he did.
Look, there is an entire group in the Middle East that believes that the Jewish people, Western people, Westerners, whatever you call them, are infidels, and they need to be taken out.
Yeah, but I mean, you could, if we're going to talk about religion, I mean, think about the Crusades, the Catholic Church. Yeah. I mean, there are just as many nutty on the street corner. There's Protestant preachers.
There's not. I can't believe I'm the non-religious person on the show is arguing with this. There's not though. There's not. There's not. It's not an equal equivalence. It's just not.
My point is, in America, I mean, think of Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Shaquille O'Neal, Bernard Hopkins. I mean, all of these are very famous Muslims who preach peace and are good citizens and all that good stuff. Like, I just think it's. In the name of religion, there are some. I'm going all RFK Jr. on you.
Dawn's gonna be doing push-ups later
right?
today.
I'll be if I were as muscular as him.
Yeah, after you cut the grass.
Right, but I'm just saying that this is an extremist group, and they've been called a terrorist group. They have been activated by Iran, and I simply think we have to look at the bigger picture, which is, this is a power play and it's a money play.
Yeah,
and Iran does not want Israel to sign any kind of an accord or agreement or a deal with, between Israel and the Saudis, which is, by the way, something that Trump started, the Abraham Accords, and Trump wanted because it means what? It's the art of the deal. It's, hey, we're going to do business. We're going to be peaceful. Yeah. We're going to be business partners. And Iran is trying to be the fly in that ointment right now.
And I try to be consistent when I say I hate when everybody tries to paint a group of people with a broad brush and a broad stroke. Not all Muslims are radical extremists. Not all Trump-loving Republicans with MAGA hats are ready to go to January 6th, right? Not all Democrats are left-wing progressive woke jerk-offs. Like not all Irish people are drunk. It's like I hate when we just stereotype one group of people and just assume that
guys.
It's like the bad apples in the bunch, right?
I understand what you're both saying. I really do. I just think we're pussyfooting around this whole thing. It is we should obliterate
Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, Al Qaeda. We should wipe out every Islamic radical terrorist group on the planet. I'm with you 1,000%.
The last time I checked, Catholics and Christians and Buddhists and whatever other, they didn't want to wipe another religion, all other religions, off the face of the earth.
That's correct.
That's all.
1,000% correct.
That's all I'm saying. Yep. Is that you can, yes, if you read the Bible and all this other stuff, yes, there's violent imagery and everything. But there's only one religion that takes that literally. Literally, they take it literally.
Well, and that's the challenge that not only Israel or anybody in the West faces. Is this is not just like your typical war. I mean, this is it's not like they're dressed up in military apparel. I mean, how many times have we seen in this country in the last 20 years where terrorists have been arrested and they assimilate and they blend in with society and they're going about their plotting and their planning as if they're just regular citizens, and you don't know who exactly, and that's one of the big issues with the southern border.
And by the way, speaking of that, if we don't think they're sleeper cells here right now, we are very naive
1,000%.
Because we opened the freaking borders and let everybody in.
Yep.
We let everybody in, so we're going to see, and we let them parade because everybody has the right to protest, which I do agree with, but we let them parade through the streets of Rittenhouse. We let them parade through the streets of New York City. We let this numbnuts talk on in Times Square about Muslim. It's they're here, and they don't want any other religion but their own.
Well, and the scary part beyond just the fact of war, it's the depths to which they will go. It's not shooting a rocket, launching a missile, or as Trump said in that clip this morning, it's not like your typical war of little tank against little tank shooting each other. I love the way Trump framed it like he was 9 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, these are individuals that will, and if I remember there was a stretch in 2012, 2013, and 2014, post the killing of Osama bin Laden. You had the movies American Sniper with Bradley Cooper, Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, and you had Zero Dark 30, which was how they killed Osama bin Laden. I mean, there is in those movies. You have some of these individuals in the name of Allah and the jihad and the holy war that they believe they are waging. They load up a 1987 Honda Civic with explosives, pull up in front of a restaurant, and blow themselves to smithereens to kill 7 people. That's the level of vitriol and hate they have for anybody that is of the West. That's what you're dealing with here. That's a really sick level.
And how do you combat that? Because here's the problem. It's not a country that we're fighting. Like, this isn't Germany in 1939. You know, this isn't Japan. This isn't Iraq. This is these.
It's a group of militants,
and they're everywhere though.
Right. It's throughout the Middle East. That's why I mentioned Iraq, Iran, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon. You go on down, and you mentioned Germany. Trust me, there is a big section of the Muslim community in Germany, and you can bet that within that Muslim community, there's a smaller section of the group that has been radicalized. You see this through. I think Hamburg there was a big cell in Hamburg, Germany. Pre 9/11, I think that was one of the spots where they met up and they plotted and coordinated, the 9/11 attacks.
Mike writes, Islam is the oldest religion, and it's the most. There are the most. We have. He worded this properly. They're the largest religion, I think, is what he's trying to say.
Is it larger than Christianity?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Okay.
So to paint this as a broad brush is very bigoted of
Correct.
you. Wow, bigoted of me. Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Well, it's not bigoted. It's just ignorant.
Wow. Okay.
You just don't know.
Soccer's under attack.
No, and I love Greg, and Greg's a good person, but it's
I'm not that
ignorant
good.
view.
No, it's okay.
I mean, let's talk about the Bible. You know what the Bible?
Yeah, no, I get it.
The Bible says if your wife is caught in adultery, you stone such women.
So you see a lot of Catholics and Christians stoning their wives
right.
because that's actually happening in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. That's what that's all I'm saying is that there is one religion that takes that book seriously.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up Saudi Arabia because they're an agitator and a financier of a lot of these operations as well. It's not, Don, you mentioned Iran, but Saudi Arabia. I mean, let's face it, the royal family. I mean, Saudi Arabia's got more money than they know what to do with, and obviously we know their connections in the last 25 years to terrorism as well.
Yeah. Again, I go back to what my teenage kid said. Why don't we just spend all this money instead of the war machine? Spend it on becoming energy independent. And then we don't make these folks who can be radicalized and who rule us, in essence, and just become energy independent and spend the money on retraining with jobs and it gives everybody, it's a win-win. Because we go to solar or wind or whatever we go to, and we spend the money on putting a solar panel on everybody's roof. Get Emmons, get Matt and Steph, put the solar roof. Put a new roof and solar on you. With the money we're spending, think about it, on all of this, we probably could afford that. But instead, we're going to poke our finger in this war that's an ancient war that's biblical. It's never going to end. And so to Greg's point, there is no real solution. The real solution is let's be energy independent. Mm-hmm. And then we stop just pumping billions of dollars into their economy.
Claude says on Twitter, pure evil is right. Turn the Gaza Strip into the world's largest sand dune. You know what? And then send Jack Nicklaus over there to design a bunch of golf courses.
Stop golf into it.
I'm sick of wet grass in Pennsylvania. I need warm golf weather, damn it.
The Live Golf Tour can be in the Gaza Strip.
I'd love to go over to Saudi Arabia and play some golf right about now.
Look, I mean, we joke about all this stuff, but it's just like what this group did to the Jewish people was horrific.
Yeah.
And there were war crimes. These people need to be eliminated. Yep. They need to be wiped out.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, you look at the images and how they view these children and women and girls, and it's inhumane. And so because they view you as an American or a Jew, to them synonymous.
Yeah.
You are this so-called infidel.
Yeah.
And so you are viewed as as the devil.
Yeah.
And so they have the right to murder. There's another story, that cute grandma who we saw the video of, and reportedly now she was one of those murdered.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about that there is this veil that comes over somebody, a brainwashing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And they could look at that individual who looks, you look just the same, except, oh no, this person is of such and such religion.
Mm-hmm.
And so now this person you have every right to commit atrocities against this individual.
Well, when they radicalize you and get you believing this and brainwashed, then it's like you're not just killing adult men in combat. To your point, they're killing the elderly, they're killing females, they're killing infants and toddlers.
Tracy,
this is a whole new level.
Tracy on the YouTube writes, "It's not a small faction like Dawn is pushing." I agree with that.
So you think it's a well? I mean, I don't know what the math is. It's not like they do polls. Hey, of the Islam faith, how many have been radicalized? 34%.
John Paul writes, "Greg, wow, didn't know you were this uninformed." Well, you obviously haven't been listening to the show. No, I just look. I said I came at this unlike Nick and Dawn, who are two religious people, and I don't fault them for that. I think everybody, has the right to believe whatever they want to believe. But I'm just coming at this from a spot of I don't have a dog in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. But my dog is for the Jewish people who were slaughtered by a group of people. And yes, Tracy's right. It's not a small group that want them annihilated.
Yeah.
They want them eliminated off the face of the
It's
earth
pure evil.
because their God tells them that.
Right.
That's my issue.
Lucy says Dawn for president and her boys too. And Richard Notaro is challenging us on the oldest religion. Richard Notaro says Islam is not the oldest religion.
Yeah, Kevin says that too.
There are several others, including Judaism, Buddhism, and Christianity. I thought Christianity was the oldest, which is why I was a little surprised that Islam was. But
Christianity?
That's what I thought.
What?
I think I right away I challenged myself to Rich Notaro's point, because I thought, wait a minute, Buddhism.
Yeah.
And by the way, nobody ever has a problem with Buddha. Do you ever know that?
Yeah.
No, nobody has a problem with Buddha.
Right.
Now, I'm looking this up. It says Christianity is 30% of the world's population.
Okay, maybe it's
Which
the
is
largest
slightly-
percentage, I thought. I knew it was either the largest or the oldest. But then again, I thought Central Air was created in the 80s. So what the hell do I know?
Former NBA player Mari Stoudemire.
Yes.
Took to...
Great player.
Was this Twitter, I guess it was?
I believe so.
Talking about Black Lives Matters and how cowardly Black Lives Matters, and politicians are silent on what's happening in Israel, and he had some choice words for them. This is cut 5, Daniel.
I woke up, man, this morning with some disturbing news out of Israel. That Hamas kidnapping children, putting them in cages, killing women, killing the elderly. That's some cowards. That's cowardly. And for all y'all Black Lives Matter who ain't saying nothing, well, let me figure out exactly what happened before I say anything. You. Figure out what? It ain't never been cool to kidnap kids and put them in cages. It ain't never been cool to kill women and elderly. Never been. No matter where you from, what you represent, what tribe you for, it don't matter. They ain't never been no cool. They ain't never been none that nobody supported. And then you go and hide and put the kids in front of you as a barricade. That's some coward. All you politicians who always had something to say on the contrary, I see you. You. All you Black Lives Matter people who always had something to say and always supported everything else, and you quiet now, you too. Only place in the world where I can go and study Torah and eat kosher food. Only place in the world. Some cowards, dog, and all y'all supported, you. On my mama, we don't respect none of y'all for that. Peace.
All right, so kudos to Amari Stoudemire as he just dunked on BLM, which is very interesting because that's what I brought up earlier this morning with one of my points of the way Democrats are looking at this, the way left-wing media is looking at this. And this is what happens. This, again, goes back to identity politics and the selective social outrage. You don't get to be all BLM'd up and Black Lives Matter and be all diversity, equity, inclusion, and everybody treated equally and then remain mum when 900 Jewish people are killed. If you want to go down that road, especially if you're not in the politics lane, like Amari Stoudemire, very great, was a tremendous basketball player for 15 years. I think he actually converted to Judaism and might have even played in one of the Jewish professional basketball leagues over in Israel. He's not going to stand for the hypocrisy. Like I said earlier this morning, Obama tweeted out within 24 hours about Ukraine. Took him almost 4 days to tweet out about Israel.
Was he waiting to
What's there to wait on?
Was Obama waiting to talk to the Bidens? And so is there a coordination among them out of respect?
It's called the third Obama term that we're living in right now, right?
But and to your exact point,
yeah.
I simply wonder if he didn't, because everybody would have talked about the fact that, Obama, we'd rather have him than this guy, the big guy. And so and I think a lot of people would have said that. And so I think that the Obamas knew it would ultimately trump Biden, if you will, and make Joe Biden look really bad.
I got a tweet. Actually, we all received it from our buddy Newman Price. He sent us a screenshot of the world religions map with the background. Christians account for 2.2 billion followers, which is still less than Taylor Swift has on Instagram, which actually represents 31.5% of the world's population. Yeah. Muslims, 1.6 billion, or 23.2% of the world population. Non-religious people in totality, 1.1 billion, or 16.3%. Hindu, 1 billion, 15%. Buddhist, 500 million, 7%. Indigenous religions, 400 million, 6%. And then other religions, and I'm not sure what that would include, but 58 million or less than 1%.
But I will point out to you that in the non-religious, the 1.1 billion people, that is, and that's why I say Christianity is not the number one, because in communist regimes, such as communist China, there exist actually Hindus and Muslims and maybe 5% Christians, but they're not counting that because officially China does not allow, in communist China, they don't allow you to have a religion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you took that 1 billion people in the non-religious category, you know what I mean, and you split that up, then I believe it tips the balance for Christianity not to be the top.
And to your point, too, in China, as far as religion and stuff like you're talking about, you have that genocide that's going on with the Uyghur individuals. Yes. They call them the Uyghur people, which is basically Chinese residents that are Muslim, I believe. And to your point, they don't want it.
Right. So they're not recording that, and if you took that out and you put it added that to the 23%, I think it at least comes close, if not exceeds it.
Right.
Lindsey Graham never met a war he didn't love. Proposes that the U.S. start bombing Iran.
Yes.
Cut 14, Daniel.
Hamas in the last hour announcing it's going to begin to execute hostages and post video evidence online for every Israeli airstrike. Your thoughts on this moment, Senator?
Well, for every Israeli or American hostage executed by Hamas, we should take down an Iranian oil refinery. The only way you're going to keep this war from escalating is to hold Iran accountable. How much more death and destruction do we have to take from the Iranian regime? I am confident this was planned and funded by the Iranians. Hamas is a bunch of animals who deserve to be treated like animals. So if I was Israel, I would go in on the ground. There is no truce to be had here. I would dismantle Hamas. This is the best opportunity Israel has to destroy Hamas. Take it to the Iranians. If you harm one American in Syria by using your Iranian militia against us in Syria, if you escalate the war by urging Hezbollah to attack Israel in the north, if Hamas kills one American or Israeli hostage, we're going to blow up your oil refineries and put you out of business. It is now time to take the war to the Ayatollah's backyard.
So, Lindsey Graham, as Greg Stocker said, never met a war he didn't like. You know, we certainly have seen Nikki Haley be, I don't want to say she's in Lindsey Graham's camp, so to speak, but, you know, certainly more pro-war. It's really an odd twist here because I felt like the the Bushes were war criminals, much like Clinton, much like Obama, much like these establishment families. You know, you had the first Bush in Desert Storm, and then obviously Iraq WMD in 2003, post 9/11. It's odd that, you know, Trump has come along, and, you know, Dawn mentions peace and prosperity. Let's focus on the peace part of this, and, you know, ruled with an iron fist, and, you know, all these other nations, China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, like, you know, they knew that Trump had the, so to speak, the bigger red button. And, you know, he was stern, he was tough, which you need to be, but he believed in peace, and we had peace. And now it's like the Republican Party, short of the Grahams of the world, is kind of the party of peace. Yeah, it's the Democrats that are hell-bent on escalating World War III, it seems.
Absolutely true. Rajesh on the YouTube chat says, I listen to your show because you're unbiased journalist, but today you sound like the Three Stooges, or should I say the Three Juges.
Wow. So that was a funny joke. I don't know what, I mean, I think I'm coming off very unbiased. I don't know what.
Well, I know I'm coming off completely biased, and I don't care.
Okay.
Because I think, you know, the Jewish people have the right to defend themselves because
So
they were doing nothing but living their lives.
He likes your opinion most days, but today he thinks you're a stooge. Okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
that's
would
what
just,
happens on a talk show.
And then a warped religion came and told them that they shouldn't exist anymore.
I love when you have an opinion on a show where 99% of the time they agree with you, and then 1% they think you're wrong or they disagree with you, and it's fine. You voice your opinion. We read the hate, but you know.
I'll point out to you that, and Jennifer Griffin had posted this out, and she had reported this, that, you know, senior intelligence sources are telling her, and multiple sources, that Iran's goal is to draw the U.S. into a broader conflict. And ultimately, I stay with this. It was my instinct from day one. As it all comes out, it continues to fortify what I believe is that Iran wanted to bust up any kind of signed alliance that would allow that would create a greater path for Israel to be at peace with the Saudis, to do business with them, art of the deal, etc. That's what this is really all about. And it's sinister if you think about it, because what Iran is doing is they ultimately use Hamas and their, as Greg has said, their extremist views, right, and their hate for the Jewish people to do this. But it's so outrageous and so horrifying that Iran knew that it would draw in the rest of the region and the rest of the world.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. And this is just like, look, this show is a bunch of opinions, and we're talking off the cuff most of the time.
Yep.
If you had to guess how many people of the Muslim faith believed what Hamas did today was right, how many would you say? Like what percentage? Just throw out a percentage.
I'll go less than 38%.
Okay. I think you're way wrong.
So you think it's way higher?
I think it's way higher.
Okay.
I think it's way higher than that.
I'll go 38%, Alex.
I do. I think that this is a, you know, I think that this is a huge problem. This is a huge problem that we've been dealing with for, you know, hundreds of years.
It's a huge problem because it's not as easy as, like, you know, defeating Russia and killing Putin, or you know, wiping out Saddam Hussein. It's more than one man, one dictator, one regime. This is a fanatical religious belief system and way of life. I mean, this is, you know, terrorism is never going away. The next wave, the next group is being trained and brainwashed, just like the Democrats.
But you have to understand, too, this isn't like I know people don't agree with this, and I'm sure vets will probably, you know, scoff at me saying this, but there is, when you're in war, there is sort of a code to war. Yes, war crimes happen, but there is sort of a code to war.
Yeah.
These people went door to door.
There's no rules.
Raping women.
Correct.
Killing children. Taking hostages. This is not, these are not people that can be reasoned with.
No.
Right.
Or, you know, these are people that need to be wiped off of the face of the earth.
I mean, if you recall,
Which is what they're doing right now as we speak in real time.
And Trump was able to, you know, pretty much eradicate and defeat ISIS. But I remember, this was actually 2014. I'll never forget it. My wife was pregnant, and we were at the hospital, and I went downstairs after, this was before she actually went into labor. I was down in the hospital cafeteria. I was on my phone. I was looking at social media. and ISIS was circulating on social media different execution videos. I mean, to your point of the savage nature, I mean, these weren't not just your typical beheadings. These were drowning people with chains. These were lighting people on fire. Like, this is like stuff that you wouldn't even see drawn up in a Hollywood horror movie, to your point.
Yeah, they take levels of barbarism to places I have never seen before. The drug cartels do the same thing, too.
Yes.
So let's include them.
And
but
surprise,
at least,
surprise, both can come up through the southern border.
But they're doing it for they're doing it for business purposes.
Yeah.
And they knew that when they came in, at 2007, that Hamas was, there was all this fighting, and they knew that they were extremely violent. But then over the years, it was reported that, well, they're adjusting to give off signals. They're adjusting to begin a process of coexisting with Israel. So they were ultimately, people weren't watching their actions or their reality. They were just they were disingenuous. And basically that's how they apparently fooled the Israelis, because they were publicly disingenuous to say, well, we're evolving into coexisting with Israel. No, they were never evolving.
And going back to the intelligence failure on the Israeli front for a standpoint, this is also some of the blame, not all of it, but a lot of this has to be thrown at Benjamin Netanyahu. He's no stranger to this. Keep in mind, this is his second term. Netanyahu was the prime minister of Israel in the Clinton era in the late 90s, if I recall. I want to say 96 to 99 or 97 to 01 or 2000. And he just got back into office, I believe, 2 years ago. It was about a 20-year stretch where he was out of office, and I think he got reelected in 2020 or 2021. So this is a guy for a quarter century that knows the capabilities and the hell-bent nature of Hamas, Hezbollah, or any other terrorist group on the security and sovereignty of Israel. So how you could have your guard down on Saturday, considering the historical significance of the date and the anniversary and the religious holiday or whatever, with all the connections, like on those days, that would be like something, again, happening on September 11th. And I know Benghazi happened in 2012, but...
Well, we can look at, there's going to be a lot of time to discuss, the intelligence failure. There was an intelligence failure here on September 11th. Intelligence failures have. There was a report yesterday, I think, where some of his Egyptian counterparts were warning him that something big was going to happen. I get it, but you can make the same, excuse for what happened on September 11th. By the way, Trish says the Nazis did the same thing in World War II. I agree. And what's the one common denominator? What's the one common denominator here? The Jewish people.
Jewish people.
This group of people have to be scared for their life every day of it. It is just, I can't imagine going through life like that. You know what I mean? Because there's so much hatred. So much hatred.
I said earlier in the show, I think there's far much more anti-Semitism than racism in this country.
But there's an entire religion that wants them wiped off the face of the earth. How do you combat that? This is a pro-Palestinian protester. Okay. This is what these people are up against, celebrating the Hamas killing. Talking about, there was a story yesterday where there was like a rave party or something in the middle of the desert, because all of these people were on holiday, and they were just hanging out, having fun, and literally vans of Palestinians came up and just wiped them all out. And this pro-Palestinian speaker who was speaking in Times Square celebrated it. Cut one.
When the Palestinians broke through the fence, they put the F-35s on
By the way, you watch the video right now on YouTube. There's not a small number of people there.
Yep.
That is a pretty large gathering.
Yes.
Of people,
and largely all adults as well.
I'm going to pick off right where I left off.
And as you might have seen, there was some sort of rave or desert party where they were having a great time until the resistance came in electrified hang gliders and took at least several dozen hipsters. But I'm sure they're doing very fine despite what the New York Post says. But nobody had seen this coming. Every Israeli official said it was a complete surprise. And I think we have to sit with that, because as of just a couple days ago, they said that surprise wasn't possible. They said we control every inch of Palestine.
No, they don't!
They said we have walls, we have cameras, yes, we have traitors too, and there's nothing they can do that we won't see of what we do. They were so arrogant. But just less than 24 hours ago, on the land, from the sea, and from the air, the people of the Gaza Strip.
These people live among us. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think people, and I'm going to spin this or shift this towards the reaction in this country to this story. I don't think Americans are surprised at how many Muslim people there are in this country. I don't think people are surprised of how many radical Islamic extremists there are across the globe. I think Americans are a little surprised this morning at just how many people are pro-Palestine in this never-ending conflict. I think that is the part where, because right there, those people in that video, I don't know if they're just pro-Palestinian, if they're actually radicalized extremists, but I think people are surprised to see in the streets of Philadelphia or the streets of New York these pro-Palestinian protests and marches that I think Americans are probably like, oh, okay, I didn't realize it was to this extent. I think that's part of it the last 2 days, really.
Well, our news media is doing a really bad job of both siding this. You know, and I'm going to play an example from the NBC Nightly News. I think it happened Sunday night. Maybe it was last night. I'm not sure. But there's this both siding of this of, well, how do the Palestinians feel? Well, how do the Jewish people feel? Like, no, there's no both sides in this. There's not. It is one group who was slaughtered by another group.
Right.
That's not both sides.
Yeah. It's hard to both side it when you have 900 plus Israelis murdered, old, young, infant, female, male, adult, minor. It would almost be like trying to both side something that happens here locally where a group of people try to attack and kill a bunch of police officers at a police precinct. Imagine if that happened here, and then you both sided it. Yep. Well, it's wrong to do that, but the police, like, no, stop. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from that standpoint.
All right, this is NBC Nightly News with their report showing both sides. Cut 3.
There were rallies across the U.S. today, both in support of Israel and in support of the larger Palestinian cause. It comes as security was ramped up at synagogues and mosques nationwide. Kathy Park reports from New York.
Tonight, the crossroads of the world becoming a deep dividing point, with Palestinian supporters on one side of the street.
What brought you out here today?
To stand against the oppression that's been occurring in Palestine for over the past 5 decades.
Palestinian people have had enough. While yards away, a tense face-off with dozens standing up for Israel.
We have a right to exist. We're not doing anything wrong.
I have friends who live in Israel. I have family who live in Israel. I've seen violence there before. We've all seen that, but this is really on another level completely.
As you can see, emotions are running high. This rally is now on the move. We're told they're headed straight to the Israeli consulate.
Palestine will be free from the river to the sea.
And similar scenes playing out across the country.
Right to resist! Right to resist! Right to resist!
The growing movement on both sides heightening security from coast to coast. The NYPD keeping close watch on the ground and in the air, launching drones to monitor today's events. While in Salt Lake City, police increased patrols following unspecified threats targeting Jewish institutions. Synagogues in Miami Beach and Beverly Hills ramping up their presence too. Tonight, the crisis in the Middle East fueling demonstrations thousands of miles away. But despite the conflict, some hope for peace.
People around the world need to be hopeful, here in America and around the world, because whatever divisions we have, our humanity supersedes them.
And Kathy's with us here in New York. So New York City's taking some extra measures now?
Kate, that's right. We saw that today, and we understand that those extra efforts will extend to synagogues and mosques until further notice. Kate?
Kathy Park, thank you.
I don't know. I just feel like we're doing the media is doing a very bad job of. One side is looking at it this way, and the others, no, the
mainstream media does a bad job usually on 99 out of 100 things.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm wondering too. Go ahead.
But with this, it's never like with the Ukraine thing. It was never, and I get it. That's a separate thing. But we never both sided that.
No, if you weren't in 100% support of Ukraine and defending
exactly,
them, so are you pro Putin? Like, no, I'm not pro Putin.
Exactly.
Like what?
That's my problem with this is that. This is the only conflict that the media seems to look at both sides on.
It's really, that's an interesting point, which is interesting because I feel like the media typically bought and paid for slanted coverage one way or the other. I was thinking about this too with just that clip specifically. I'm wondering how this is covered and how this plays out with the media if the White House was currently controlled by a Republican and Donald Trump. But then another thought that popped into my head, seeing those New York police officers in New York City from the NYPD having to deal with it. Can you imagine what it's like right now to be a cop?
Nope.
I mean, from the looting and the rioting to all the social justice hogwash. And then, of course, you've got now, probably these officers in a million years never thought it would get to the point where they're patrolling Times Square and they almost feel like they're standing on the West Bank or the Gaza Strip. You've got pro-Palestine to your left, and on the other side of 34th Street, you've got pro-Israel. These guys are like, I just want to get out of my shift and go home for the day. Like, really?
Dawn, do you have a comment on the both siding of this? I'm just curious your take on this.
I think all of us, especially in America, need to look at the big picture. And that is, as I always say, who's getting played. So the real player here is Iran, who wanted to be the spoiler and separate out and make sure that Israel does not sign this accord and continue doing business or even having a cozier, friendly relationship between Israel and Saudi Arabia. That's what this is all about. Everybody needs to come together and understand that. And so what we need to look at is, what is Iran's goal in all of this? And what is the U.S. policy right now? And so everybody needs to think about this, not get involved and sucked into these very old, ancient, biblical arguments. That's what Iran wants. That's what the ultimate enemy wants. And they want it for reasons of, you can say religion, but the truth is it's about money and it's about power in this region.
And did you see how I forget if it was Iran or Hamas, but somebody implicated Russia involved in this, saying Russia has been supplying, and I forget what, I should know this, supplying something. But this is nothing new either, because you go back to 2003 or you go back to Desert Storm, there has always been ties of Russia providing outdated military equipment that they no longer use to the Middle East. So you keep in mind, you try to connect the dots, you got Russia, Ukraine, you've got Iran, Hamas, Israel. You know, again, you look at a couple of these big nations, some stronger than others, and you lump them all under the, quote, the axis of evil, so to speak. And what's the common denominator? The United States of America.
Here's a montage put together by our friends at Grabian, CNN, and MSNBC in Hamas's defense, because, you know, both sides cut forward.
And there has been the most aggressive encroachment into the West Bank by this far-right coalition government of any that we've seen. This mobilization that has been going on for a year and that is reaching critical points, not completely observed by the outside world, frankly.
Provocation.
Do you hear what Andrea Mitchell's saying there?
Yeah,
she's saying that this is, this far-right government's encroaching into, like, are you effing kidding me?
To your point of the both-sidism here, how wild is it that we are living in a world in 2023 where American media is almost trying to present both sides of the story? And I know you disagree with it, Greg, but they're kind of trying to play it down the middle, even though it's not a down the middle issue. Yet when it comes to American politics, Democrats versus Republicans, the mainstream media doesn't play it unbiased and down the middle.
Yep.
Everything skews far left. It's almost like the mainstream media is saying Republicans, MAGA Republicans, conservatives are a bigger threat to America than Hamas and any other terrorist group. Let that sink in. So a grandmother that goes into the Capitol on January 6th is a bigger threat to democracy than a radicalized extremist who would like to fly a plane into a tower.
The problem with these arguments is that everybody's saying, well, there's a lot of nuance to this, and there's a lot of no, there's something very primitive about this. There's something very primitive about groups of people going around and ripping people out of their houses and killing them. And that deserves a primitive response. There's no nuance to that. There's just not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if that happened to, God forbid, any of our families, we would want to extract revenge to hell with the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they feel. And they deserve to feel that way.
Even the most hardened criminals in big blue cities think these people are savages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We keep going here.
Day after day, time after time, it was nonstop, and it seems like the Netanyahu government is not willing to bring any peace to the region.
It's conflicting for me because you have people in there and innocent bystanders that'll be involved in it, but at the same time, it's like, what other choice did they have?
Do you condemn what Hamas did inside Israel to Israeli civilians? There are dead and there are hostages.
First and foremost, the Western media must really abandon this framework that has gotten us to where we are today.
Okay, but I just want
the loss of civilian life is tragic in all sides. You've counted 70 Israeli deaths. There is more than 200 Palestinian deaths so far, more than 1,600. Entire residential compounds are being wiped out. This is a war crime committed by Israel. What is more tragic, or equally tragic, is the blindness and the deafness of the world. Every single political avenue is blocked. Every single legal avenue for us is blocked. Don't underestimate people's desire for freedom, for ending the bondage and captivity. Pay attention to the destruction that Israel is doing. Make sure that these supremacists in the Israeli government are not going to turn the whole thing upside down. You know that they have been under besiegement since 2007, the biggest open-air prison. This is what leads to events that you want to discuss.
So here's the thing.
Let's remember that their lot is in part because they are in this almost prison. They cannot, Israel maintains border controls that are essentially a stranglehold. No, it's very hard to leave. It's very hard to import anything.
Boy, they wish that those same Israelis who were out there protesting the so-called judicial reforms would be protesting Israel's inhumane treatment of the Palestinians who live under Israeli occupation. But that's just not something that's happening.
The fact that Israel is an occupying power, the fact that Israel has violated international law and Palestinian rights. You spend taxpayer money on buying Israel defense systems and trying those defense systems on Palestinians.
You've got 2.2 million people crowded into 141 square miles. So they automatically become the victims of Israeli airstrikes because it's so crowded, because it's so densely populated. And it's basically like living, Alex, in an open-air prison.
I couldn't think of a better gift for Benjamin Netanyahu right now than this kind of incursion.
Can you
a better
gift? It's just nauseating. Everybody with the nuance in this whole thing.
Wait, did he just make the case that what happened to Israelis is a benefit to Netanyahu?
Yeah.
Is he? I mean, I don't pay attention
to their
guess. Election cycle. Is he getting an election coming up?
I don't know.
Jeez, man. I'll tell you what. And that was that MSNBC or that was
that was a montage of both MSNBC and CNN.
Jeez.
The ADL's Greenblatt was on MSNBC's Morning Joe yesterday and actually did a very good job of blasting the network. Well, the network he's on. So he's blasting MSNBC.
This is the Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, for calling Hamas terrorist fighters who he asked, who's writing the scripts for you guys. This is cut 2.
So while I am sad and trying to cope, I'll be honest, I am angry. I am angry with the world that allowed the dehumanization of Israelis and sanitized the terrorism of Hamas. I must say, I love this show and I love this network, but I've got to ask, who is writing the scripts? Hamas, the people who did this, they are not fighters, Jonathan. They are not militants, and I'm looking right at the camera. They are terrorists. It is a barbarian who rapes and brutalizes women, who kills children in front of their parents and then brings them over to Gaza, who literally, we've heard all these reports, and we know these aren't just reports. These were filmed gleefully by the barbarians who committed these grotesque crimes. They filmed, for example, an elderly woman in her home in one of these towns. They burned her alive in her house because she was too infirm to take out. And, you know, parading women, bleeding from the crotch because they were raped throughout Gaza while people hoot and holler and cheer. So look, you know, when we say, oh, this was an escalation, it was bound to happen, I am sorry. This was a massacre that was pre-planned. Yep. This was not destined to happen. It is not normal to shoot teenagers in the back, hundreds of them. So I just think, like, guys, get the story right. And all these pictures of, like, you know, missiles or the rubble in Gaza, please talk to the Israeli mothers and fathers who lost their children. Talk to the grandchildren whose grandparents were seized as hostages. And please stop calling this a retaliation. This is a defensive measure against an organization that is committed to one thing: killing Jews. Not a peaceful resolution of a conflict, but murdering Jews. And if you're wondering if I'm exaggerating, please, I beg of you, everyone watching and everyone at this network, just watch the footage.
That was Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League. And here's the thing. He said it exactly the way it is. Those are terrorists right there. So when we talk about the playing it down the middle or both sidism or defending one versus the other, how do you defend terrorism? Because on 9/11, short of anybody that was a radicalized extremist terrorist, not one person supported or stood by and applauded what happened on 9/11. So how do you try to argue on behalf of Hamas 22 years later as they go out and, again, this was not just a random occurrence. This wasn't one suicide bomber. This was a premeditated, pre-planned, calculated attack months in the making. So I'm really surprised. I'm literally befuddled by the mainstream media that it's not more one-sided than it is. I'm thrown for a curve. I'm more caught off guard by this than Israel was by the attack that occurred to them.
Yeah. Here's a little montage for everybody. Remember when the media told everybody that Trump was going to start World War III?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cut 6 here, Daniel.
Well, we were on the brink of World War III because Donald Trump took the worst possible option given to him in a slideshow.
In this country, we have begun to overestimate the dangers of impeachment and underestimate the dangers of a deranged president retaining control over a nuclear hyperpower.
We cannot wait around while Donald Trump is in control of the nuclear weapon.
Your objection to potentially going into World War III cannot be procedural.
The biggest danger of the Trump presidency is that we are always just a Trump whim away from nuclear war.
They say it's World War III, but I'm looking out my window. It's very quiet in those smoking craters out there.
Has to be told that it's his job to avoid World War III.
One Democratic congressman sent me a note this evening and say this president wants this war.
A future administration needs to find a way to put an end to the forever wars.
We're in new normal, and the new normal is forever war.
But there's a big difference between ending the forever wars, which he wants to do responsibly, and what seems to be President Trump's rather itchy Twitter finger.
The objective needs to be to end the forever wars.
If Congress does not want to go to war, now is the time to start putting restraints on this president. And again, they've been giving him green lights all the way.
Maybe it's because we're going to take on the military-industrial complex.
Okay, you get it.
So Russia-Ukraine happens not under Donald Trump's watch, but under Joe Biden's.
Yep.
Israel-Hamas, the rising up of North Korea, Iran, China, spy balloons. I mean, you go on down the list, the southern border, and we haven't even gotten to crime in this country, inflation. Yeah, Donald Threat was such an unstable presence.
Donald Trump.
What did I say?
Donald Threat.
Oh, Donald Threat. I like that better, actually. Donald Threat.
In this corner, Donald Threat.
So we've got Donald Duck, as Chris Christie has labeled it. I've labeled him Donald Threat. He was a threat to democracy. He was a threat to World War III. He's got launch codes for nuclear weapons. He's got the big red button. He's got the bigger button than Kim Jong-un has. Yeah, here's the swamp guy, 50 years, never accomplished a damn thing. Now all he does is go skinny dipping and take naps. And this is the guy that's leading us into World War III.
John Kirby, spokesperson for the Pentagon, was on with somebody on Fox News, and he was asked about with all of this happening in the Middle East and Ukraine everywhere. Does the Biden administration, does Joe Biden still think that climate is the most existential threat that we as humans face? And you'll all be happy to know that he does.
Okay.
Cut 8.
So now the United States is essentially involved in a war in Europe as we give a tremendous amount of military aid to Ukraine as they fight Russia. We also say that we are rock solid in our support of Israel as they now face a battle that is against, and we can get into this in a moment, but supported by Iran by all accounts. So given that the United States is now involved in wars that are taking place in Europe and also in the Middle East, I want to play this soundbite for you that is just last month in Vietnam and ask you if this still holds for the president. Watch.
The only existential threat humanity faces, even more frightening than a nuclear war, is global warming going above 1.5 degrees in the next 10 years.
Given all the nuclear players in these two areas where we are now engaged, John, does the president stand by that comment?
Absolutely, he does. Climate change is an existential threat. It actually threatens and is capable of wiping out all human life on Earth over time. I mean, I don't know how more existential you can get to that, but that doesn't mean that we walk away from our obligations, our national security interests in very dangerous parts of the world.
John, he said it was more frightening than a nuclear war. Is that it's more frightening than a nuclear war in this moment?
The president believes wholeheartedly that climate change is an existential threat to all of human life on the planet. That's just science. That's a fact, Martha. But it doesn't mean that we turn our back on the other challenges facing this country and our allies and partners around the world. We've got broad national security commitments literally globally, and we've got to mind all of them at the same time. You mentioned two of them, obviously Israel right now, certainly Ukraine over the last almost 2 years now. We are a big enough and powerful enough and effective enough nation to be able to look after all these disparate national security threats. And one of them absolutely is climate change.
So as we know, if you're ranking the threats to democracy and civilization, according to this administration, climate change, racism, xenophobia, homophobia, Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, Hamas, come on. This administration is just, this is what happens when you get so hell-bent on an ideology or identity politics. And this would be like me never coming off of the opinion that DeSantis is the absolute best choice for the GOP to beat Biden. That was my stance when the show started. But as I saw Ron DeSantis not ready for prime time, and I saw Trump rallying the troops and getting indicted left and right in his polling numbers, what happened with me? I saw the new information, I adapted, and I changed my stance because it would be foolish to stay stuck on the DeSantis train.
Yep.
But this administration, through hell or high water, they will stay on what they're preaching: green energy.
All right, I think that's all for part one.
Part one, my God, that lasted like 2 days.
It did.
All right, so we're going to Dawn now?
Yeah.
All right, let's get a big 3 at 8:45 with Dawn Stenzel.
It's the big 3 at 8 on Kayal and Company.
And good morning. We are sponsored the Big 3 by Piazza Auto Group. So, number one, let's take you to the update of what's happening in the Middle East right now and what's happening as far as the U.S. military. So the question is, the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, and also the USS Normandy, Yes, they are headed closer toward Israel and toward supporting that nation. And in a huge show of force, the U.S. announced the deployment of the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean. You know that on Sunday, as they now move closer to that region. This is the world's largest aircraft carrier and some of the best U.S. fighter jets dispatched to help Israel in a huge show of force after, of course, Israel was caught off guard by that massive attack by Hamas. We have been updating you all morning long as far as the casualties rising, with between 100 to 150 hostages taken, as well as the death tolls rising now into, presumed to be in the thousands as we go minute by minute. Day 4 of the war against Israel. And so the U.S., by the way, has already begun delivering critically needed munitions and military equipment to Israel. This confirmation from the White House as the Pentagon reviews its inventories to see what else can be sent quickly to boost its ally in this now 4-day-old war with Hamas. We know that President Joe Biden, by the way, is scheduled to speak today to address the war in a speech today, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And so we wait for that, as well as we're learning, and I'd reported earlier this morning that, in fact, we learned why Joe Biden had perhaps put a lid on speaking publicly. He was being interviewed, and that was in the case by the special prosecutor interviewing him about his bank accounts and the so-called Biden family business and involving the big guy. So we wait for more word and confirmation on that, but that certainly explains why we did not really hear much from President Joe Biden. We certainly did not see him on television addressing the public as he is expected to speak today at 1 o'clock. I'm going to take a turn from all of that and update you on a story that, by all accounts, would be making bigger headlines today, and that's the case of Daniel Penny on a New York subway. So we have an update here and a lot of testimony, and we're learning more about this case, and it's obviously being buried, but we had talked so much about this that I wanted to give you an update, and that was some of the testimony from those witnesses who had talked about that deadly subway chokehold, so-called. And this is about 30-year-old Jordan Neely, who we now learn had a long history of violent attacks on subway riders. So we're hearing within the court testimony more about what happened that day. A mother testifying that she hid behind a stroller with her son, as well as a high school student praying as this suspect, Jordan Neely, yelled, "Somebody is going to die today." Now, he was ultimately placed in that fatal chokehold inside a packed New York City subway train. But these are new revelations. We've never heard this other side of the story as to what was going on. Mm-hmm. And so we now know some of the details. This is the first time they're being publicly disclosed in a motion to dismiss all charges against United States Marine veteran Daniel Penny, who's accused of choking Neely to death in an effort to protect those other passengers.
Wow, so a motion to dismiss everything.
Yes.
Good. I mean, we mentioned when this happened, and I said the case is going to be interesting to follow in the fall. And, of course, there's been so many other big stories that this is once again pushed to the back burner. But, I mean, this was a guy, Neely, I think we had said, was it 40-plus priors? Or am I missing?
Yes. No, you're correct.
Okay. I lose track of all these people that have 40-plus priors that are still roaming the streets.
So the court papers here are citing testimony, and these are well over a dozen witnesses who were called. We didn't hear much from the defense or the side of the story as to what motivated the Marine veteran Daniel Penny, who's 24 years old, who faces more than a decade behind bars. And so this ultimately was the DA, familiar name, Alvin Bragg, had said, no, this was a murder case. And we all heard all about Neely, and he was a Michael Jackson, he was a Michael Jackson impersonator, Jordan Neely, that he was a Michael Jackson, impersonator,
Yeah.
and that he suffered mental illness, but we didn't hear much from those people who were protected.
So,
and how they feared for their lives.
Just so I got this correct, this is a case being prosecuted by Alvin Bragg?
Yes.
So Alvin Bragg has Donald Trump and Daniel Penny in his crosshairs.
Yes.
He might be the most disliked prosecutor in America right now.
Yeah. So now we're finally hearing from, retirees. The one retiree is saying, I've never felt a fear like this. They feared this guy. And ultimately say that when Penny grabbed Neely from behind, it was to protect all of these people, elderly, a mommy with a baby, like all these different people, a high school student on, using public transit to get to school. And now we finally hear the other side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so the U.S. Marines defense attorneys, or Marine veteran, I should say, defense attorneys saying all of these charges should indeed be dismissed.
Wow.
Just want to update that because it's not going to make any headlines and nobody's going to talk about it today because of obviously the war in Israel and everything going on there. But I'll just point out to you that if convicted, Penny faces up to 15 years in prison.
Yeah, which is outrageous.
Yes, and now with these latest moves and defense attorneys' moves, the Manhattan DA's office and Alvin Bragg, who they like to hold these news conference, no comment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course not. No comment. Okay.
So I'm going to take a turn. Just again, this is other news of the day. So yesterday I had said, amid everything happening in Israel, we saw oil prices jump 3%. But there's other news in health news, and that is that first of all, sugar prices, not just oil prices, but sugar prices are going to jump. But something that you might use sugar for, this is good news. Habitual tea drinking there's very good news and new evidence that a hot cup of tea or any cup of tea a day reduces the risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, premature death.
Mm-hmm.
And the new research says that especially if it's a cup of dark tea every day, just one cup, that it will help you manage your blood sugar levels and greatly reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes.
Right. So
which is on the rise in America,
that
as
is
we know.
correct. And I think Dom's a big tea drinker. I think he drinks a cup of tea while he does the show. I used to be a big tea guy. I like the herbal throat coat tea with all the organic stuff in it. Slippery elm, and
it's very good for you.
Damn right it is.
And literally the dark tea specifically had a 47% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes and a 53% lower risk of being diagnosed with prediabetes than people who don't drink, especially the dark tea, but any tea is good. Now.
Yes, drink it straight up. Don't put 4 sugar packets in it or squeeze 8 ounces of honey in it, which is loaded with sugar.
Well, especially with sugar prices going up along with the oil prices.
That's right.
Yeah, but any tea, but especially the dark tea, I just want to point that out, is this study is an amazing study. So
there you go.
There you go.
Everything's
Drink
beneficial.
That dark tea.
I like it. All right.
Piazza Auto Group, thank you for sponsoring us today. Piazza Auto Group is good for you too. Our own personal research shows.
That's correct.
Right? Shop the entire Mazda crossover and SUVs lineup at Piazza Mazda of Westchester and Reading. 2023 Mazda CX-5, CX-9, CX-30, CX-50, all available for immediate delivery. Find yours at piazzamazda.com. Thank you, PiazzaAutoGroup.com, for sponsoring our Big Three.
Yes, and I've been told that anybody that leases a 2023 Honda Ridgeline reduces their chance of cancer by 21%.
See? That's our story. We're sticking with it.
It's not in my script. It's just science. PiazzaAutoGroup.com. All right, that'll do it for the 8 o'clock hour. We've got John Brazier of the Phillies coming up at 9:30, but we'll kick off the final hour with 2 very interesting stories. Another Biden bears all.
Oh, no. Naked?
And,
Oh, boy.
Get to YouTube, folks.
Will we have we'll have the food.
goodness.
We have the photos exclusively from YouTube.
Yes.
Awesome.
We had Daniel Valdez staked out like a photographer for the DailyMail.com. He was hiding in a bush.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that when we come back. Hour number 4 of Kayal and Company as we continue Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Looking ahead on Sunday, the Jets and the Eagles at MetLife Stadium. Sunday at 4:25 p.m. And it looks like the Eagles right now are minus, what are they here? -6.5. I would jump on that right now. The Eagles at -6.5 because I think that's going to go up before the week is over. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg, and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL, and is the official partner of 1210 WPHT 21 and over. President PA. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue does not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system, featuring powerful exclusive interviews with the top regulator over Wall Street, the Inspector General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, H. David Kotz, who indicates how Wall Street is rigged.
In the federal government, management is often a big challenge. Get the manager to do the right thing. It's a great concern.
The Chief Accountability Officer over the federal government, the United States Comptroller General, David Walker, further explaining the dilemma facing all Americans.
If we have another recession, the federal government doesn't have any more tools in its toolbox.
Hear these experts and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Springfield Country Club, October 24th. Registration is required. 1-800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Celebrate Faith and Liberty Day on William Penn's birthday, Saturday, October 14th at the Faith and Liberty Discovery Center, 5th and Market Streets in Old City. Enjoy free admission, free ice cream sundaes, giveaways, and meet and greet William Penn himself, plus a special appearance by 1210 Tom Giordano. Step inside and experience the Faith and Liberty Discovery Center, where the good book meets the history book. For more information, visit faithandliberty.org.
American history in a whole new light.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We're introducing Wendy's newest addition to the morning lineup. Say hello to the Wendy's all-new English muffins. They're here and they're ready for breakfast. Choose between our tasty grilled sausage, a fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese, or that Applewood smoked bacon, fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese. All of that comes sandwiched between a warm English muffin. These English muffins are the perfect way to start the day. All you gotta do is pick one. Grab an English muffin for breakfast this morning. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's breakfast at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
You got to take care of yourself. And if you've been hurting, I want you to listen in and I want you to make a call today. Just a call could change your life. Because the future of joint pain relief is right here in Philadelphia. QC Kinetics Advanced Regenerative Medicine. It's amazing. If you've been told, oh, more steroids or even surgery are your only options, hang on. Just get a second opinion. Will you do this today? Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents. So the answer is right within you. You're walking around with the answer. So make the call and find out how you can harness your body's own healing agents, which are going to attack that joint pain and heal you. I'm talking lasting relief here. QC Kinetics does not just mask the pain. No. These treatments go to the very core of the problem using concentrated healing properties, which are placed directly into your joint, that aching joint. And then what happens next? I was recently told by a friend, it's like magic, okay? It's placed directly into your joint and it restores and repairs your damaged tissue. And so just imagine this for a moment, living your life, especially this fall, beautiful, sunny, crisp weather, no more pain in your knees, your hips, your aching shoulder, your back. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. And life is about moving, motion. So I want you to get moving. First, make the call, but call the local medical professionals. Get a free consultation today. QC Kinetics is where it's at. It's the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics, would you just call 215-999-3000? Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Riverton, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal Company, 9:01, hour number 4 underway Tuesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, 855-839-1210. You can get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube, tweet or Instagram us at 1210 WPHT. Don't forget the merchandise yesterday. Kayal Company, Free Speech Lives Here, hooded sweatshirt, donned by yours truly. Today, Stalker has it on.
What? Who? Oh, yeah, me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's nice.
You like it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a large.
So we both wear a large.
Yeah.
And you're about 8 inches taller than me. Very interesting. But greatness comes in all sizes, right?
It does. It does. It's nice though. I like the fit of it. I love the color of it, honestly.
Yes.
The color is what sold me on it.
That's right. Heather gray, I think we're calling it?
No, it's not heather. There's no color heather gray. Heather is green. Heather green.
Sure?
Yes.
I think you're wrong about that.
Okay. Am I wrong?
I think it's heather gray.
Dawn?
By the way, if there's a lady out there named
it.
Heather Gray, I'm available.
Heather Gray.
I think it's Heather Gray.
Somebody Nick Kayal dated back
Yeah.
in 8th grade.
Yes. She was my 13-year-old sweetheart. Fine young gal. She grew up and went on to bigger and better things. She's now a doctor.
You can order these, by the way, 1210wpht.com, 1210wpht.com. Go there, support us, support every show, support all the shows. Help us with some merch because you are our advertising department.
That's correct.
I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but I'm seeing that apparently Heather Gray goes both ways.
Oh.
In that sometimes it is the color of what you're wearing right now as a soft muted gray color. Other times it is considered a soft sort of pastel grayish greenish.
Oh.
So it goes both ways.
So you're like the mainstream media with Hamas and Israel. You're playing it down the middle.
Tom Walsh on the YouTube chat says there are many different fabric colors that are heather. So okay, so we're both correct.
Okay.
But
so Heather's not
wrong.
really which shirt. So Heather will be on
No.
TikTok later going through their pronouns.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, this segment is brought to you by Wawa. They have the pizza. That's right. Wawa has pizza, and it's freshly made. Brought to you by Wawa, who now has pizza starting at 4 p.m.
We start at 6 a.m.
And the pizza at Wawa starts at 4 p.m. And Wawa has the pizza. Okay, a couple of things to get to. John Brazier from the Phillies will talk a little about Game 3 and what the festivities will look like, the promotions, all the different offers and opportunities, maybe who's throwing out a pitch, singing a national anthem, things like that coming up around 9:25, 9:30 this morning. But let's get to the Bidens. We've done a lot on Israel and Hamas today, and obviously that'll be one of the main stories moving forward as developments continue to occur. We got a couple of things on the Biden front, including an exclusive from the Daily Mail. Yes. Bareback Biden, they're calling it.
Oh, boy.
As yesterday we told you that Joe Biden has a checkered history with the Secret Service, not only with the fact that his dogs just keep biting the people that are trying to protect him from being assassinated, but Biden actually apparently was very really risque in front of female Secret Service officers, as he used to take back in his vice president heyday. Because when you're 67 and 68 years old, you skinny dip in front of female Secret Service officers. That's what you do when you're a Biden, right? He's just your average Joe. Well, apparently, Joe not only likes to skinny dip, Hunter likes hookers. Well, it runs in the family because Joe Biden's younger brother, Frank, admits to a naked selfie on guys with iPhones gay dating site and says it's genuine. My phone must have been hacked.
Oh, boy.
He said.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I think we have visual confirmation.
We do. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
Wait a minute. Is that RFK? That dude's pretty jacked.
He is pretty jacked.
So we got the Bidens on steroids and on guys with iPhones gay dating site.
For the people who are, can't get over to YouTube to see this
and I recommend
video.
most men don't go there, to be honest.
First of all, he's standing in a bathroom. He has the toilet seat up. It's a good thing he flushed, right, Dawn? Because
thank you for flushing.
There's nothing worse than people posing for a selfie, and there's dookie in the toilet.
Is that what you call it to Dylan? Dylan's got to take a dookie.
No, that was a Green Day album from 1993. But what is it with the Bidens and being naked?
I'm telling you, all politicians, man, they're all perverts. They all have this in their closet. Not all of them, but most of them, especially Democrats. I don't know what it is with them. Has Frank Biden?
This is Frank?
Yeah, this is
Frank.
His brother. His younger brother, Frank, who legitimately is about as jacked as RFK.
Yeah,
if we took off his head and took off below the waist and just showed the torso and the abdomen, the chest and the arms, he is built just like RFK Jr.
And he looks just like Joe, by the way. I mean,
I see. Yeah, I guess you're right.
In the face. In the face.
Yeah.
And this was on a gay dating site?
So DailyMail.com obtained a naked selfie of Frank Biden, President Joe Biden's younger brother. The photo was uploaded on a gay porn website called guyswithiphones.com in 2018 when Frank was 64. So a 64-year-old Frank still does nude selfies, which is all the rage these days for the 64-year-olds out there with iPhones, I've heard. There's a big community for it. And then we have 68-year-old Joe Biden, who was vice president, taking skinny dips in front of female Secret Service officers with dogs that bite the officers. So if you were a male or female assigned to protect Joe Biden, you either got bit by a German Shepherd or you had to watch Joe skinny dip.
My God. So Joe Biden and his wife, it's alleged, skinny dip.
Yep.
In the oh no, Daniel made it the fourth box.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
This is one time where I demand the cancellation of box 4.
So Joe Biden and his wife skinny dip. Hunter, we know, has taken photos of himself with hookers
and taken 20 grand out of his daughter's college fund to pay for the hookers.
Cocaine, and has taken naked photos of himself.
Correct.
And Frank Biden also has a naked selfie.
Yeah.
Of himself. I don't know what it is about this family and wanting to be naked all the time.
Yes.
But Dawn, I have this discussion with my wife all the time, and maybe I'm sure you're on her side. But like, guys do this all the time. They take the naked selfies and they send them to women. It does nothing for women.
It really feels like it backfires, doesn't it?
Yeah, but women aren't. Guys are visual, and like guys need to see. They want a good body. They want this, that. Like
guys
women,
like a performance.
Yeah,
and a production.
Women
a show.
don't operate like that.
No.
Like you send most women a naked photo,
you're probably done,
and they're just like, this guy's a creep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and especially the Anthony Weiner thing where it's a tight shot of the so-called junk.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yes.
Anthony, you are fired.
Thank you, Mr. DeSantis.
You have a drop for everything.
I do.
It's unbelievable.
That's when he was claiming he would fire Anthony Fauci, which you can't.
But I think that this is something that teenagers do.
Oh, of course.
Not
64-year-old men.
Right. No, he was born in 1953, right?
Oh, so
Frank?
so he's my mom's age, so that's 70.
He's 70 now.
Right?
And this was 5 years ago in 2018.
So this is when he was so this picture is old?
Yes.
And it's just emerging.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's claiming it was hacked, like Hunter Biden claimed.
Right.
Claimed it was hacked, right?
I tweeted so and so. No, actually I was hacked.
And he put it up on a gay site or the hacker.
The photo was uploaded to a gay porn website, guyswithiphones.com. Guyswithiphones.com.
Oh man.
I think it's actually a better site. I've heard dudeswithdroids.com is actually pretty good too.
Dudes with droids. Which is better than moles.
Yeah.
All right. But I guess they reported that he has a longtime female partner, Mindy. So I don't know if he's gay or not gay, or if he posted it or didn't post it.
My guess is Frank Biden is probably not gay, but somebody posted this picture. And I'm not. trying to defend any of it, but I could see how, like, think about this. Like, you're starting to see all the unraveling of the Biden family, right? It's not just bank laundering and money and shell accounts. Joe skinny dips. His dogs can't keep under control. His son's a complete deadbeat. His younger brothers thinks he's he's an Instagram OnlyFans model. I'm telling you, again, everything that we were told about Trump on the Syria, he's a threat to democracy, he's going to get us into World War III. It's playing out with the Bidens. Oh, the Trump family, blah, 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 blah. The Steele dossier, all of it. The Bidens are the biggest violators across the board.
But here's my question about this photo. First of all, he's naked, but he has his baseball cap on and his glasses, which is kind of weird.
Right. Somebody comment on that. They said he's not naked. He has a hat on.
He has a hat on.
Yeah, he's trying to read the Philadelphia Inquirer.
But look at him. He is holding. It's not a selfie. Somebody else took this photo. He's holding.
Is that not his hand?
No, look at. The picture shows him.
Oh, he's taking it in a mirror, right?
No. Because
is that his right arm, or is that another arm?
Yeah, no. He's taking it in a mirror. So like he's holding it up like this, and he's taking the picture in a mirror. So that's how he gets that picture.
Okay.
Not that I've ever taken that picture.
I just had.
That was really excellent.
I just had a moment of clarity. We're going to go from talking about Frank Biden being naked to talking to John Brazier with the Phillies. The show's gone to hell.
Maybe you'll ask John this question, but obviously.
John, what's the appropriate age for a man to stop sending selfies? And who's singing the national anthem tomorrow night, by the way?
And I will point out, he's fully ripped, but he's fully manscaped.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on. Oh, this is way too much detail on
and
this,
that's not a shave, by the way. That is.
If you cross your eyes, you can act. If you cross your eyes when you look at the picture, you can see it.
I'm all for a dude shaving.
Oh yeah,
shaving his
cross
chest.
Cross your eyes.
Yeah,
it's a little trick.
The waxing's too much. If you're a dude and you wax, you're not in my circle.
I just want to know what's up with these creepy Bidens and their naked photos.
Telling you, man.
That's all I care about.
Telling you.
Yeah.
They're very proud. He's proud of his physique.
Well, I mean, he should be. He's in very good shape. But like, dude, enough with the photos. Like, stop.
Like that's what we expect from Gen Z and millennials, right? With the self-gratification. Look at me. Everybody thinks they're a celebrity on social media with the selfies.
All right, wait, hang on. Let's have a little truth session here. Nick.
Yeah.
You've never taken a photo like this?
Of like this right here?
Yeah.
No.
Well, wait a minute. You said like
I'm guilty of posting a picture of my bourbon. Yes. I'll make a cocktail and take a picture from time to time on a Friday.
I bet a lot of guys have taken this photo.
Oh, if I did, I would admit it.
And deleted it right away or whatever.
But have you taken any?
I've taken selfies for sure.
Naked?
Not naked, no. I can't do that as a public. Imagine if that got out to the Philly voice.
You delete it right away.
Oh, no, I would totally retweet it.
You don't think the Inquirer would love to bring me down? Right-wing radio host gets exposed with nude selfie.
I bet that if you polled most men, the majority of them,
more than 50%,
have taken some sort of a nude selfie.
But I think this is why it's such an outlier here. It's a 64-year-old. I would say if it is more men than not, I would say it's probably 35 and under.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I don't think 50 and 60-year-old men are doing this. Maybe a select few.
Shelley wrote, "Take it down. No reason to encourage older men to do this."
All right. So actually, you know what? Let's wipe Greg and myself out of the boxes, and let's put up Daniel. I know this is on the fly, and I'm kind of joking when I say this. Let's put Frank Biden next to to RFK Jr. doing the bench press with his shirt off, and we'll ask all.
No, this is a very.
Here's what we're gonna do. All Republican women. Single Republican women out there. Every man on the planet is dead. There's only 2 men left on the planet. Are you taking Frank or RFK Jr.? Keep in mind, one's a Biden and one's got a bad voice.
Nick, this is a very male-oriented show. I don't think men want to see this.
Definitely RFK Jr.
Well, take the politics out of it.
Yeah, Dawn's been very pro RFK today.
Take the politics out of it.
Yeah, I'm just saying RFK Jr.
Okay, enough. Okay.
I'm just.
Did he get it up?
No,
Did he get
RFK? No, he has.
I'm always on a delay. Is RFK
Greg,
in there?
No.
No, it's.
Greg.
I don't think we can do it this fast.
It's definitely RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Because Frank's face, you got to factor in the face.
Yeah, the face is a little covered up though. You got the glasses and the hat.
It's RFK Jr.
Yeah,
RFK Jr. All right.
I'm really no comment. And neither
There's
one of you
nobody's got like he put up a poll question. Which one are you taking, RFK Jr. or Frank Biden? And nobody's responding to this.
That is a partisan straight audience, folks. All right, I think we're done with that.
Yes, please.
855-839-1210. And then on a serious front, Jonathan Turley, and it's amazing how many things are just completely going by the wayside because everything is Israel-Hamas, and rightfully so. But the latest Biden family tree debacle when it comes to their influence peddling dynasty has been released, and almost nobody's talking about it. Jonathan Turley writing on his website, Jonathan Turley, obviously of Fox News, legal scholar, he wrote for The Hill the latest House investigations and what they've exposed. And he says in the following, President Joe Biden once famously told a state official that no one F's with a Biden. It was a statement that made more sense a few years ago than it does today. But these days, it seems like everyone is, well, messing with the Bidens. The president's son, Hunter Biden, facing federal charges on gun violations under a law that his father has heralded. He is also looking at possible additional charges on taxes. We just talked about Frank Biden. Joe Biden's brother, James Biden, was just subpoenaed alongside his nephew over millions of dollars sent by foreign figures as part of an influence peddling operation. And it now shows newly released evidence from the House Committee on Ways and Means reveals we are now looking at over $20 million coming from 23 separate countries on 4 continents to at least 9 Biden family members. Not only are the Biden transfers becoming clear, so is the Biden family tree in this lucrative form of corruption. So again, the new updated numbers, $20 million from 23 different nations, 4 different continents, and at least 9 Biden family members with up to as many as 12, although those additional 3 have not been confirmed just yet. And Joe Biden, obviously now under formal investigation. We know he was just talking the last couple of days with individuals in investigations with the classified documents. But Turley kind of laying all of this out now, and it is becoming clear as day. And again, you look at this, and you look at the House, and the Republican-led House, with Noah McCarthy right now as the Speaker, James Comey, Jim Jordan, and everybody else, Byron Donalds looking into these things. If they can't connect the last few dots and show the true smoking gun, this is going to be a major failure, I think, by Republicans. Because, let's face it, folks, you just don't get your family with 20 different shell companies, 9 family members, 23 nations, $20 million, and what was exchanged? What did you receive in return? You just don't hand it. It's got to be an exchange of a service or a good. That's what a transaction really consists of, right? You're paying for a service or good. So what exactly was happening here? Obviously using the Biden power family name and their influence peddling. So Turley laying that out, and I think that would probably be a much bigger story today if what happened over in the Middle East on Saturday did not occur. 855-839-1210. We will come back. John Brazier of the Phillies will join us at the bottom of the hour. We also have What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2, Dawn's What's on Tap for the Dawn Show, Who Won Twitter Today. And if we have a chance, I would love to get to, if we have like 3 minutes at any point in the next 40, I would love to get to this school bus driver and have a little fun with this. A Long Island school bus driver was caught drinking on the job because she didn't know that White Claws had alcohol in them. She says it was a mistake.
It's a great story.
This is an unbelievable story, and even the lady that was our great bus driver in Ohio would have had to fire this lady and say this.
I'm done with you!
Well, this lady got fired. She says it was a mistake. We'll try to get to the details when we come back. Kayal and Company rolling on live here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
Virtua Health is here for you, all of you. Here for the run-of-the-mills, the out-of-the-blues. Here for everything in between. And with our Rowan University partnership, we're here, rethinking the way academic medicine feels. Welcome to a more convenient, smarter healthcare experience. And that's more good for everyone. Find a Virtua physician or location near you at virtua.org. Virtua Health, now more than ever, here for good.
Hey, you. The one on the couch who just told your friend you can't go out because you're busy? Ready to get real about your psoriasis? When your current treatments don't do enough to help control the inflammation beneath the skin, causing plaques and pain, stressing and scratching, it's time to stop hiding and get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
You got the alert this morning. Now get the whole story. Count on NBC 10 News today.
It's more than just headlines. It's news to get you ready for your day.
If you need motivation, here we go. We've got your playbook.
The most accurate hour-by-hour weather forecasts.
Traffic info to get you there and back easier. It's all you need to get up, get ahead, and stay ahead.
Make your mornings count with NBC 10 News today. Count on it.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotics assessment in Walmart today, now in the foot care aisle.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Israel says it has legitimately targeted Gaza's parliament and civilian ministries as fighting enters day 4. President Biden participated in a voluntary interview over the last 2 days as a part of his classified documents investigation, and the Phillies lost 5-4 to the Braves in Game 2, but they can still clinch the series at home.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me for years talk about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements. After making their omega-3s as part of my daily routine, from supporting heart health to promoting pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Jeff. He says the benefits of Rescue Omegas are worth it. Helps reduce my inflammation and lower my cholesterol. Been taking it for years. See, people like Jeff have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one, get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Use the code online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Remember the code OMEGA50, OMEGA50. Buy one, get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
There's nothing like football season. And this year, fans in Philly can listen to Penn State football free. Catch every Nittany Lions game live with Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Free on the Odyssey app. Every touchdown, every tackle, every win. All right here. To get started, download the Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY. And search for WPHT. Available for Philadelphia listeners only. Don't let woke win. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal Company 927. Welcome back in. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick Kayal, Don Stenzel, and Greg Stocker. As we continue live here on a Tuesday morning, we will get to part 2 of the cut sheet, who won Twitter today, and what's on tap for the Dawn Show in just a little bit. This segment brought to you by Consumer Cellular, where they offer unlimited talk and text on every plan, starting at $20 per month. Stay connected in the rain, sleet, and snow with their premium nationwide 5G coverage with no contract and free activation. Visit consumercellular.com to switch today. We will switch from news and politics and current events throughout the world, bring it in local as we bring in John Brazier of the Phillies again this morning.
Yeah.
Late night last night. It didn't go the way we wanted for people like me that were greedy and said, the hell with the split. Let's grab both. But realistically, the best team in baseball, you stole home field advantage away, and you head back home again tomorrow night.
All right, Nick, I'm going to say a name, okay? Vinko Bogate. Do you know who Vinko Bogate is?
He's funneled money to Joe Biden. I have no idea.
Vinko Bogate was, if you remember, the wide world of sports, right? And it takes a certain age to remember this.
ABC,
so Jim
right?
McKay, ABC, and Jim McKay was the announcer. And in the very beginning, they'd show the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Yes. Well, Vinko Bogate was a Slovenian ski jumper that never made it off. He literally kind of just, it was a yard sale on the ramp, and they showed that. So that was me last night watching the Phils at the end of the game, because I'm sure, like a lot of Philadelphians, you are all excited. You've got Wheeler dealing. You got, we got the bullpen. Braves were dormant. They were dead. Their crowd was dead, and then, a bad pitch on Wheeler. I'm sure you'd love to have that back, and then a bad pitch by Hoffman. I'm sure you'd love to have that back. And just when you think, all right, you're down, but then if Castellanos comes up to bat, he hits a ball, and Harper's going to score. And Michael Harris, the third, comes up with an acrobatic, crazy play.
Incredible.
And that's where I became Vinko Bogate right there, where I just crashed and burned, and I couldn't sleep and rolled in my sleep and had nightmares. And but here I am looking at from a different perspective.
Okay.
And if you had said before the series that we were going to take one of two,
you take it.
to split.
Yeah.
And then they have to come home and play in Philadelphia
against Nola.
And against us with a rabid crowd, with Nola on the mound, right? And already Suarez already pitched a good game. He's going for game 4. And then you got Wheeler waiting in the wings if you need it. Game 5, still in a great position. So they still have to come to our house, and they have to combat our passionate fans.
That's correct. 14 straight innings to start this series where Atlanta was held scoreless. And by the way, basically the first game was a bullpen game.
Right.
So you were able to do that. So that's great. The thing that bothers me, and we'll get to what you guys have lined up in a moment. I mentioned this to you off the air. The Phillies are great in primetime at 8:07 when the other options are Milwaukee or Arizona. But, the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Red Sox, we get bumped down to 5:07 p.m.
Right. It's not a primetime. It's not a primetime game. It's 5:07. Now the good news is, I guess we get to bed earlier.
That's true.
Right, and maybe get a peaceful sleep. But yes, obviously I think we all want prime time, but we got 5:07, and I'm very excited. I really am, because Nick Castellanos said this in the post game interview. He said when you get hit in the mouth, we are very good about coming back and using that as inspiration. And think about all the times this year where we did get hit in the mouth and had an ugly loss, bad loss,
right? And
then we came back and just erased that right away. So hopefully we can do that tomorrow night.
This is a team that's overcome 2 slow starts to season, so they can overcome 1 bad loss where they had them maybe, dead.
And again, with our fans, it's going to be, if anybody was at the game when we played the Marlins, the fans were nuts. And we're getting national notoriety for now for a good reason, because we're always on the other side, right? And now we are getting national notoriety for having the most passionate fans, the greatest fans. And it's great to see as a native Philadelphian.
No question. So Game 3's coming up. I'm hearing, first pitches, national anthems, players from the past, family ties. What can you tell us?
Well, because of 5:07, we're going to have some of the same activities, but it's going to be bumped up. So we're going to actually have it's a 40-foot merch trail out on CB Way starting at 1:30. So you can go down at 10 o'clock to the New Era store, but at 1:30 there's going to be a merch trailer. 2 o'clock is when the Phillies post-game block party will take place. We have Split Decision, the band. They'll be performing. We have a pep rally at 4. There's a Ferris wheel. You can do some bungee jumping if you want. You can hit a hitting station, Bud Bar, food trucks, all that. If you have tickets, gates open at 2:37. You'll get a Phillies red rally towel. Be in your seats at 4:30, because that's when the pregame ceremony, just like last time, we're going to unfurl a giant American flag with members of the police, fire, military. And then the first pitch, we have 2 first pitches. We have the governor, Josh Shapiro, is going to throw out the first pitch. And then the 2009, one of the heroes from 2009, Raul Ibanez. Right. So the crowd's going to go nuts for that. I love Raul, one of my favorite guys, and he had a big NLDS back in 2009. Big playoffs. So it'll be good to see Raul back.
Yes, it will.
And then one of the cool things, too, is, in the 7th inning, Lila Tomei, Jim Tomei's daughter, will be doing God Bless America. So
how wonderful.
Yeah, so that'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Think about how old we're getting here. Jim Tomei, the first baseman for that team prior to Ryan Howard coming up and finally breaking through, his daughter. I grew up watching Jim Tomei.
I worked with Andrea before they were married at NBC.
Yeah.
And so she was a morning anchor, and then they met, fell in love. Great love story.
Yeah.
That is amazing now to see their daughter.
Jim Tomei, great guy.
Oh, great
guy. One of the nicest guys in sports, but Raul right there, too.
Yeah.
Raul and Jim have similar situations where there's not a bad word you can say about either guy.
Right.
So it's very lucky to have
the
both
Tomei's big connection to the Manuals, because Jim Tomei and Charlie Emanuel with the Cleveland ties, I believe.
Exactly right. And I talked to Charlie last week, and he's very appreciative of all the fans that have reached out on social media, and
that's awesome.
He's getting there. It's going to be a work in progress, but hopefully we can get him back in Philadelphia.
So 2:37, the gates open. First pitch at 5:07. That's 2.5 hours. I'm expecting the fans to be well lubed. That's going to be that. That's going to feel like an 8 o'clock game.
Well, you've seen 4:30 football games in Philadelphia, right? So yes, I think Atlanta's not really looking forward to coming here. They had their comfy confines right there with their mascot blooper and their empty seats, and they know they're coming in for what did Rob Thompson say? Teams are experiencing 4 hours of hell. So
I said that this morning, that I don't think any team is looking forward to coming here, because this fan base is just they win and lose games for, and when I mean lose, I mean don't lose, win games for this Philadelphia Phillies team. It is.
I agree.
I've never seen a fan base this rabid and can determine the outcome of these games more than the Philadelphia fans.
And we don't wait for a big moment. Like the Braves fans last night waited for to the first home run that they Darno hit,
Mm-hmm.
but they were quiet.
Truce
it was just
dead.
real quiet.
Yeah.
But this place is from the get-go when there's nothing going on early in the game, the fans are going nuts, and they're just waiting for an excuse, and then bam, whether it's Reese Hoskins' home run last year or whatever it may be, Kyle Schwarber's shot against the wall. It's the fans base are ready to blow.
You know, it's interesting too, and the national media has acknowledged this fan base, this crowd at that stadium, and how rabid it is. And they said that right at the beginning of the postseason when all the teams were still in the playoffs. But I think they would believe that even if the Yankees were in it, because I've been to the new Yankee Stadium. Old Yankee Stadium versus new Yankee Stadium, very homogenized, not that same crowded, intense feeling. You go from the Vet to Citizens Bank Park, and when the Phillies are good, especially so, you still have that old school Vet feverish pitch with this team. The new dynamics of the ballpark haven't put like a damper across this fan base.
Someone compared it to SEC football.
Yes.
Football.
I lived down in Nashville for 4 years.
And that's kind of the closest. Well, but I think it's even because you have a smaller crowd and you're more contained and it's right on top of each other. So I think the announcers are just really seeing what the crowd can bring.
Now, we have established this is a best of 5. I can confirm that after citing 3 sources, because last year I thought it was a best of 7.
Best of 5.
So, Philadelphia, we can actually win this series the next 2, take it 3 games to 1. I know we as fans are always looking ahead, but are you guys looking further down the road for an NLCS?
Well, we have to because we have to plan. So if that's the case, right now the Diamondbacks are up 2-0 on the Dodgers.
Yeah, who would have saw that
surprise.
coming? Yeah.
So the good news is if we advance and the Diamondbacks win one of the next 3 games, then we're going to have home field advantage, which would be nice. So then Game 1 would start, I believe, on that Monday.
Okay.
Following Monday.
A week from yesterday.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
So it should be exciting. And then, again, thinking further, if we go even further, there's a couple teams we would have home field advantage in the World Series, including Houston. Houston or Minnesota, we would have home field advantage.
I said right before the playoffs started, I got the feeling that there's something different this year. I don't think it's going to be a quick flame out. Yeah, it's hard to get back to the World Series back-to-back years. We always hear that. There's a different unfinished business vibe to this team last year from where they started and losing Girardi, making the change, and then the slow start this year. I mean, they were 2 games away from winning it all last year. So I
agree. You have a lot of guys that have experience that are battle-tested, and then you throw in the new guys, Rojas and Kirkring. There's always great stories when you have teams that go all the way. I'm not saying we are, but hopefully we are. But there's always great stories. 2008, everyone, Eric Bruntlett.
Yeah.
We had Clay Condry, some other guys that came out of, more maybe the last bullpen guy or guy coming off the bench.
A guy like
big
Matt
moments.
Stairs.
Matt Stairs.
That hit against Broxton in the Dodgers, I don't think that ball still was landing.
I was there, and it was loud from Philly fans that were out there when he hit the home run. So that was one of the most magical moments. That goes right up there with Reese's home run last year, with the grand slam that just took place with Stott, to obviously Harper's big home run against the Padres. There's been a lot of magical moments the last couple of years.
All right, so Jim Tomei's daughter, Raul Ibanez, Josh Shapiro, all lined up for tomorrow, Game 3, first pitch 5:07. Stadium opens at 2:37.
That is correct.
Okay.
Go Phils.
There you got it.
Go
John
Phils.
Brazier of the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll see if we can take care of business
baby.
and get this NLCS started coming up next Monday. Good to see you as
All
always.
right, thanks, Nick.
There
See
he
you
is.
guys.
See you,
John
man.
Brazier of the Phillies in studio with us. We'll come back and get to what's on the cut sheet part 2, what's on tap for the Dawn Show, and who won Twitter today. It's all still on the way. A busy Tuesday morning here on Kayal and Company.
40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. Just say it with me. 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get you and your body into the fat burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You are fully supervised the entire time to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. They're with you every step of the way. Absolutely no shots, no hormones, no surgery. Locations close by in King of Prussia, Newark, Delaware, and Cherry Hill. 855-5NJ-DIET. Or from home with live online video consultations. NJDiet.com. 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed. NJDiet.com.
Hey Philly, looking to save big on your next new Infiniti? Then look no further than the Busch Auto Group. Right now, all 2023 Infiniti models come with 3 years of scheduled maintenance. And that's not all. Every vehicle purchase at the Bush Auto Group comes with over $3,000 in bonus value to drive down the cost of vehicle ownership. Don't wait. Swing by one of our 2 Bush Infinity locations in Ardmore and Westchester today and drive off with a grin as wide as the Schuylkill Expressway. Visit bushautogroup.com to learn more. And remember, Philly rides with us.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system. Featuring powerful exclusive interviews such as the president and CEO of the leading analytics firm over Wall Street, Delbar Incorporated, Lou Harvey, who explains why Wall Street is not set up to have a fiduciary duty to the everyday investor.
Wall Street is not set up to handle a fiduciary relationship. Too expensive to replace all of my compensation systems, retrain all of my people. The whole structure that's been built over the last 100 years would have to be turned on end. I would have to be brutally negative. We have an industry that has been built on caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Hear this and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Springfield Country Club, October 24th. Registration is required. Call Crash Proof Retirement, 800-722-9728.
Let's get away. Yeah, I'm planning my getaway. This is really the trip of a lifetime. I want you to join me for 12 magical days in luxury with the professionals, once again, from Conservative Tours. And I say once again because, of course, the last time WPHT travelers visited Italy, many of you discovered northern Italy with Dom. Well, this time we're heading to southern Italy on a gastronomical tour of the most beautiful coastline in the entire world, the Amalfi Coast. And yeah, I'm putting my name on this, so you can be sure that this is the best. I want to travel with the very best tour operator in all of Italy, my friends at Conservative Tours, because nobody does it better. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and they're going to take us to the best kept secrets of southern Italy. We're even going to take the high-speed jet foil over the beautiful, clear, crisp Mediterranean waters on a jet foil to the Isle of Capri. How does that sound? $52.67. That includes your airfare. It includes all the luxury hotels, fabulous dining events. Just call toll-free, 888-733-9494. Go to conservativetours.com. You'll see my picture and a full description of the itinerary. I'm talking about Italy's best-kept secrets, the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Puglia Medieval Caserta, Sorrento, Pompeii, of course, all the ancient great sites, including Rome. Join me next spring in Italy. You're going to be sorry. It's booking up. I'll see you on the Isle of Capri. Call now, 888-733-9494. I can't wait. ConservativeTours.com.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another. You've been messing around.
It's Kayal Company, 9:44, Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We appreciate John Bradshaw of the Phillies stopping in. Raul Ibanez, Jim Tomei's daughter, Josh Shapiro. Boo. Couldn't say that when he was here, though. 855-839-1210, the phone number. We got a lot of good stuff to get to. We've got What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2, what's on tap for the Dawn Show today, and who on Twitter today as well. And we might get to this school bus driver drama. And I tell you what, man, a lot of these school bus drivers these days, they just either can't put up with the Utes or they don't know what's booze and what's not.
I'll try and get to it
All
before we hand things over to Dawn.
Okay. 9:44. Let's get to Greg Stocker's What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
Part 2. What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2 sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union. American Heritage Credit Union is the place for first-time home buyers with in-house realtors and a $500 lender credit for new home owners. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH for details. Loan subject to credit approval, insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender, and MLS 433838. Yes, yesterday, RFK Jr. announced his independent campaign. He's running non-party affiliated, the first since George Washington.
He's been shunned from the family.
To his sisters and family members coming out and saying that he's giving the Kennedy name a bad name.
This Thanksgiving will be tougher than mine.
So we have some clips from that. He talks about he intends to return the reins of power to the American people. Cut 12, Daniel.
In making an independent run for president, I take inspiration from the one other president who did not have a political party, and that president was George Washington. In his farewell address, Washington issued a prescient warning about the disastrous potential of party politics. Inevitably, he said, political parties will be taken over by a cunning, ambitious, unprincipled minority who will serve the interests of the party rather than the interests of the nation and usurp for themselves the reins of government. Washington's dire prediction has certainly come true. I intend to wrest the reins of both parties and return power to the American people.
Okay, so as we know, he is the most credible independent or third party, so to speak, in probably the last 30 years since Ross Perot, who got, I believe, 19% back in the 1992 election. And, of course, he's at right around 14%. But as I said this morning in the Big Take, he's got some things that align with the right, but he's not a friend of the right. I agree with a lot of the pundits and the experts out there that believe he will draw more from Trump than Biden.
He's talking about how he's at the nation's capital, being
the nation's capital,
Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I call it the
baby.
nation's capital.
Hey, he's like
it's
Joe,
where
he's
we were
playing
founded.
to the-
We were
he's playing-
founded here.
He's playing to the home crowd, baby.
In saying that he's running as an independent and he wants independence for our nation. Cut 9 here.
Of wealth not seen in a century. But the good news is that people like yourselves are finally fed up. Something is stirring in us that says it doesn't have to be this way. People stop me everywhere, at airports, at hotels and malls, on the street, and they remind me that this country is ready for a history-making change. They are ready to reclaim their freedom, their independence. And
I saw that and I thought, is that innocent?
And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to declare myself an independent candidate
Decent-sized crowd there.
Yeah, better than Joe.
independent candidate for President of the United States. That's not all. I'm here to join you in making a new Declaration of Independence for our entire nation. We declare independence from the corporations that have hijacked our government. And we declare independence from the Wall Street, from big tech, from big pharma, from big ag, from the military contractors and their lobbyists.
There you go.
So we know we gave you the poll a few weeks ago. 63% of Americans said they would consider a third party. A lot of people believe that it's inevitable at some point. I would say this about RFK. He's got the family name, right? But I feel like there's too many loose ends with him and too many things where, you know, I think both sides will think he's a little too off his rocker under certain categories or topics, so to speak. I think maybe he is 15, 20 years too early. You know, 20 years from now, the third party builds more steam. There's a face. There's a guy with name recognition that doesn't have some of the extremes on both sides. I'm just thinking of like from an independent, moderate standpoint.
Yeah.
But then again, it ultimately comes down to money. Where's the money?
Well, that's well, I mean, he's a Kennedy.
Well, yes, but maybe he's just maybe he is the right guy, so to speak, for that 63% that want the third party.
Yeah.
But maybe the timing is just not right.
We will see. All right, I want to get to this before we leave today. This is bus driver Amal Hanna.
Oh man.
She is distraught after being fired for drinking an alcoholic beverage while driving students home from a school in Smithtown on Long Island.
60 years old.
60 years old. She's battling cancer. She's currently in chemo. She says she took the White Claw without realizing it had alcohol in it. This is the News 12 Long Island report, cut 15.
With an exclusive story, we spoke with the bus driver that is being accused of drinking while driving students, and tonight Krista McNally brings you her emotional story and how she claims it was a big mistake.
I've been crying. I can't even have more tears for just a mistake. It was a mistake.
Bus driver Amal Hanna is beside herself after being fired for drinking while driving children from school in Smithtown.
For the people like me, they don't drink. How they gonna know this is our liquor?
When heading out to work on Wednesday, Hanna grabbed what she thought was a regular seltzer, a White Claw that her roommate had left in the fridge.
Normally I take a snack and food because the chemo, I have to eat stuff and I'm working late.
Suffering through chemo treatments, Hanna has trouble tasting and says she didn't taste any alcohol. She also claims she didn't know there was alcohol in White Claws. However, when the White Claw was spotted in the cup holder on the bus, she was removed immediately. We spoke with several parents who said Miss Amal was meticulous, always on time, and treated their children as if they were her own.
She was so sweet, just being kind to them. I can't imagine she would ever do anything to harm them.
Hanna has been a bus driver for 15 years and took great pride in her job, something that was evident to parents who had children in her care.
Nobody was hurt, but I think it was a very honest mistake.
I love the kids. I love my company. My company is so good to people.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so best of luck to her in her chemo treatment, obviously. That goes without saying. And maybe this was a one-off where she grabbed it and didn't realize it was an alcoholic beverage. Those cans, if you've ever seen White Claws, they kind of do resemble energy drinks or, you know, Monsters or any of those brands that are out there. And I know she can't taste things because of what she's dealing with, but our Ohio bus driver has a rebuttal.
I can freaking smell it.
Maybe she could smell it. But she seems like a genuine person, so I think this is probably a raw deal. But
I do too.
As I was once told when I was boating in Nashville on a lake, there's no laws when you're drinking claws.
Well, I think also we have such a shortage of bus drivers, and she is fighting cancer, and she has a good. Like, I would definitely give her the
I agree.
You know, go with the doubt. There is reasonable doubt.
She's not from. She doesn't sound like, you know, she was born here or whatever.
Yeah.
And those they do look like seltzer cans.
Yeah.
So if you don't know and you don't drink, you see it, and by the way, if she was like really a drunk, is she putting it in her cup holder for everybody to see?
Well, I would ask the students on the bus, have you seen her with this can before? And if the answer is no, and she grabbed it by mistake and just didn't know. But then again, they say ignorance is no defense, and I mean, you're driving other people's children while drinking alcohol.
I think at the end of the day, she will be reinstated.
I do
for
too.
This.
I do too.
I kind of hope she will be.
Yeah.
I feel like she's being honest here, and she had no idea that there was alcohol in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, she pled her case.
Do you hear me?
I don't know. I mean, if she loses her job, she's going to be really fired
I'm
up.
gonna start kicking some serious ass.
Yeah, I know.
I love that, but I love that bus driver.
I know.
Sobbing.
We're gonna get these bus drivers together.
Sobbing, yeah.
It's like the gatekeeper and the keymaster.
Free them all, and all the parents seem to be okay with it,
I
right?
know.
I mean, like, I don't know. At least the ones they interviewed do. So.
Well, I mean, she drives a bus in Long Island?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was driving a bus in Long Island, I'd be drinking too.
I'm allergic to this.
All right, that's what we got.
All right, that'll do it for us. Let's wrap it up with what's on tap for the Dawn Show today. Just 5 minutes out.
Yeah, we have all the developing stories of the day, local reaction and regional reaction to what's happening with day 4 of the war in Israel, and as well, what about all of the military might that's arriving there? And we hear the hostages' families are speaking out, so we'll have some of that. We also have Riley Gaines. This is supposed to be Women's Day because it's 10/10 get it?
Yep.
And so Riley Gaines, why does she say that Penn State, she was scheduled to speak and she was booted, but she's still going to be here? So we'll update you on the Riley Gaines story. Christine Flowers, my friend Christine Flowers, who needs no introduction, joins me about her latest column talking about Columbus Day. We didn't talk enough about Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, yesterday. And then Guy Shiraki will update you coming up at 11, breaking down the latest from Broad and Liberty, as well as talking about Biden's green energy plans and the latest on local elections.
And Frank's photo. We'll break that down, too.
Yeah.
Will you eat green eggs and ham?
No, but I will ask who won Twitter today.
Woo!
Who won Twitter?
Marcus Aurelius wins Twitter. This is funny. He says, I guess he's being facetious, but if not, it's so funny. Greggy is a bigot. Greggy is a bigot. No. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Na.
I love
Hey,
it. I love
hey,
it. Sure. If that's the
We didn't say that.
if that is the umbrella you want to put me on, fine.
Greg, we have decided you're now just the brand manager only. You have been removed
Well, that
from the morning show.
Wait.
That day's coming.
Is this a merch idea? An umbrella?
Oh, I like it.
An umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brand
Greg.
manager, Greg Stocker.
Yeah.
All right.
Or Greg as a bigot.
Yes. Get your billboards out now, folks.
Exactly.
Petition everywhere. Say it loud, say it proud, and be mostly peaceful when you do so. All right, that'll do it for us on this Tuesday. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we are done. Back tomorrow at 6 a.m.
I'm sick of you. I'm sick of all of this. I'm done with it.